within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Friday edition of the program.
everyone's talking about. Is it?
No, it's not. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about it today, obviously, but like the bigger picture of it all, there's just so much there. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of big games, Mount St. Mary's is going to go shock the world, take down Duke. Their play-by-play voice and our friend Adam Pohl. We've known him over the years in the Bowie Bay Sox as well. That's coming up a little bit later on. He'll preview that game. Stay on the NCAA Tournament topic. Kwame Evans goes by KJ, Baltimore native. Played at Poly, Oregon forward. He's going to join us a little bit later on. And staying on the college basketball front, now retired Navy basketball coach Ed DeChellis will check in with us. And we'll also check in with our buddy Stan the Fan, who's not in studio this morning. He's okay. It's not still related to the car accident down in Sarasota. He's all right. He'll be back next week. But Stan will join us. And then also Tai Felton is going to be on with us. Obviously, former University of Maryland wide receiver, and he's getting ready for the NFL draft. So a lot to do on a Friday edition of the program. The print issue of Press Box is still available at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Go pick it up today for free. You can also read all of it at PressBoxOnline.com. On the cover, of course, is one David Rubenstein. Stan and I sat down for a lengthy conversation with the Orioles owner. Go find that right now. Leader after day one. Let me go check.
Yeah, it's not me, unfortunately. That's what I.
But it's also not that big of a deal to not be the leader after day one. It's just like really important that you didn't lose like your national.
My bracket that has the most remaining points available is my Mount St. Mary's bracket. So hopefully,
there you go.
So we need need him tonight. Need him tonight for sure.
David Rosenfeld and Austin Freeland both with 100. Both got 15 of 16 correct.
Wow.
Yesterday and tied for first place. Well, look who's in third. It's PFF Sean.
What a jerk.
In third place. Or it's, in third place. Got 14 of 16 correct yesterday. I'm down in tie for 15th place.
I'm also in 15th.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
12 of 16.
Back-to-back there. We're tied with Forrester.
Oh.
We should probably quit. And Proctor.
I'm surprised. Drew's doing pretty good, actually. I'm surprised.
Yeah, he is. He's doing all right.
Would have thought he'd be struggling a little more, I guess.
Yikes. There ended up being, I believe, 63 total ended up being the number because we had a couple of folks that registered but didn't get into the group. It was complicated. Conan Colgan and his son Luke both were late additions. So I think the final number ends up being 63 for the bracket contest, for what we're playing for, and what we donated to help or to show your soft side. So thank you to all of you for that, and we will continue to monitor it. Not really any major storylines yesterday. Obviously, the Drake thing was fun. McNeese, although that one's far less like.
What do you mean far less?
The head coach of NC State, who's got a bit of a sordid history, it's harder to like embrace them as like the overwhelming underdog. Yes, the school itself, sure, understood. The players you feel good for, right? Like I get it.
But Will Wade, whatever, man.
I mean, all right,
Whatever.
fine. You don't enjoy fun things, I guess. Go ahead.
I mean, it was fun. Would be it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, they held Clemson to 13 points in
yeah,
20 minutes.
then Clemson nearly came storming back.
Well,
That
yeah,
ended up
because
being-
of the way they started playing with 5 minutes
It ended up
left.
being an entertaining basketball game in the end. It was actually like kind of a blowout for a while, and then ended up being a wildly entertaining fight to finish as to could you get it over the finish line before you ended up blowing the entire thing, and they didn't. I don't know how to feel about Will Wade because it's the question of like, should there be rules? Like, did he break? I don't know.
Like the recruiting stuff. I mean, yeah,
Like, the
it's like
the recruiting stuff is tough.
does it go beyond that? Is there something I'm missing? I'm sure.
There's a lot of people within basketball that would tell you that Will Wade is, and I don't know all the details, so I don't want to like go there. All I can say is conflicted. That's the word that I come up with is
Okay.
conflicted.
Yeah, but they got a cool manager. I mean,
Oh, yeah, what's it with
Amir Khan.
Where did that come from?
He's got an NIL deal apparently.
But where did that? I'm asking where it came from.
McNeese.
Thank you, Griffin. So you just say you don't know. It's okay.
I don't know what you mean. Where did it
How
come
did
from?
it start? How did we
They
become
showed him on
aware-
camera, and he
How
had
did
a
we-
shirt on
How
that
did
was.
we become aware of this human being's existence?
I think because the team, like I guess, talks him up. I guess.
Thank you. You don't know is the answer. You can just say I don't know.
I watched basketball. I learned about him yesterday, just
Right,
like the
you
rest
don't
of the
know.
rest of the universe.
That's not the rest of the universe. There's lots of talk about him this week going into the game.
I think it was a plant.
What?
He was a plant.
This is an industry plant type of situation?
Yeah.
Like basketball planted this guy.
Correct.
Okay. If you say so. Anyway, the question being, I don't think there was anything that was like earth-shattering. I guess it's not a question. The comment being, I don't think there was anything that was particularly earth-shattering about day one. I think it was a largely blasé day one. The Texas Tech game ended up being really good. What's the guy from Texas Tech that hit like 8 threes?
I fell asleep before that one. Was it JT Toppin or
No,
was
it wasn't
McMillan,
JJ Toppin. It was somebody else.
It was,
something.
mix something.
God, I don't remember. I
I'll
don't
check.
remember who it was. Anyway, you tell me something.
I wish UC San Diego would have showed up in
Thank-
the first
thank,
half.
Thank God I bailed on. I'm like the only guy in the country that bailed on picking UC San Diego this week. I had him first.
Oh,
and then
and what place you in the bracket?
I'm tied with you. Imagine it would be so much worse if I wasn't. Try to think of anything else that like stood out. What's the? Do me a favor. Remind me what our hotline is.
4.
Hang on. Maybe we don't do this on the air.
Walton.
Hang on a second.
Kerwin Walton was the.
Who was it?
Kerwin Walton.
Kerwin Walton is exactly who it
Eight
was from
threes.
Texas Tech
Write it down.
that made all the threes. I got it.
There's
We're
a
all
4
right.
in it
What's
for
that?
sure.
This is what happens when we're trying to do the show. But I'm trying. I got it. Thank you. I found it. It's in my phone. I just didn't. I'm used to just like during the day whenever I need
I mean, we
the
can give it out. It doesn't.
whenever I need the hotline, I just instead of taking the 3 steps, I just yell over to Griffin because Griffin has it memorized. I do not have it memorized. And it's not like a radio station where it involves the numbers of the radio station. Like although the hotlines don't, I take that back. The radio station, the call line has the numbers. The hotlines itself, it's the same way when somebody has to call into the radio station. I don't remember the number. I don't remember the number to save my life.
Just give him the call line.
That's no.
What do
I
you
mean,
know?
it's unlikely that all the lines will be packed, but you never know.
I mean, I guess it
That was a real
depends what
problem in the old days of radio.
okay.
You had to have a hotline because all of the other numbers would be packed. Yes, to your point, at this point, we probably could do away with hotlines.
The post-game
and
shows
just-
are maybe the only
Yeah,
time. Where
it's about the only time where you have to worry about the phones being packed on a radio station. But back in the day, man, it was constant 24/7. You would spend 30 minutes just dialing in to try to get in touch with a radio station.
John in Little Rock has gripes with. Let me know if the audio is. He said the audio on YouTube. It should be better now, I think.
Oh,
He
what
was,
did you screw up?
I think I had you too low I was messing with
Thanks
something
a
yesterday
lot.
and forgot to return it to where it should have been. But he's upset that Arkansas and St. John's, Cal versus Patino, is at 2:45 tomorrow instead of like a primetime slot.
Is that really something we're mad about?
I guess. Well, so the thing is, John, they also it's a standalone game as well instead. So like if they were to be at like sometime tomorrow night, then they'd be like layered with 3 other games. So I mean I think it's
So yeah, CBS has exclusive.
the
for,
12-10 game is standalone, 2:40
Yeah.
game is standalone, and then they get the first half standalone of Michigan
right,
A&M
and then
at
6
5
o'clock is
yeah.
when the night games start on both TBS and TNT.
Correct.
So yeah, that's obviously a game that CBS wanted because of the New York market, essentially. And also, what's the other side of?
The other side of
What's in the
oh,
city
the
that they're playing?
Providence.
Yeah, what's the other Providence game? It's got to be the 12 o'clock. If that's you said the 2:45 game. So it has to be the 12-10 game. What's the 12-10 game?
12-10 game would be the Purdue and McNeese.
Yeah, so that's
yeah.
a
Purdue
little
and
bit
McNeese.
clearly, the game they wanted was St. John's because they wanted the New York market. Like that's what it is. It's weird because like none of the Blue Bloods are playing on set. Well, like, is UCLA still considered a Blue Blood? But like Duke, Carolina, Kentucky. Like all of the traditional like ratings, these are the programs we want, and that CBS would specifically protect for those games. They're all playing Friday, Sunday. Kansas, I guess, would have been on that group, but Kansas. What happened to Hunter Dickinson, by the way?
He's coming back next year.
Probably. What happened? I'm genuinely asking that question.
I don't know. I mean,
their
their team like still on paper like they have.
I'm not asking about the team. I'm asking about Hunter Dickinson. What happened to him?
I mean,
when did he stop being
because he got old, his knees or something?
Maybe. Like I'm so bloody. I don't watch enough, Kansas basketball during the year to know. Like, has he always been this bad since he arrived at Kansas?
What are his numbers this year? Is it just? I mean, they were still good last year.
He's a non-factor. Like, remember how desperate we were for him to come to Maryland?
Yeah.
I get it. Maryland stunk last year anyway. Like, it's not like they had a solution. But like, it blows my mind how bad Hunter Dickinson is. Like, he's nothing.
I mean, it's just a real shame too. He's such a young guy with a lot of promise, and
I get it.
like
I get it. We've all made this. Trust me. I made the same joke last night. I said I was getting emotional because growing up I had a Hunter Dickinson poster on my wall. Like, it's just I can't believe it's over. I can't believe.
How does Kansas keep getting the guys that play into their 30s? It's
Well, yeah, because they had Perry.
Barry Ellis.
Perry Ellis before
Perry
that.
Ellis.
That beside, I don't think Perry Ellis ever stunk. I think he was still helpful. I don't know what happened to
he
Hunter
contributed,
Dickinson.
I guess.
Like, here, in this order, try those two numbers for me. Let's see. I don't remember. I just don't remember. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, moral of the story. Day one, underwhelming. Only a couple of. There were a couple of like close-ish games that ended up being. You started to believe that something was possible, or for a minute, somebody was hanging around and making, but nothing that was particularly like, oh my God, we have to watch every moment of this game. You just didn't get that yesterday. Like Alabama State battled with Auburn through the first half. Like into the start of the second half, you were like, holy crap, there might be something happening here. And then Auburn pulled away and won by a bunch. It is wild because you no longer get like the things that we remember from when we were younger, which is like the 109 to 54 types of first round games. There isn't that much disparity. The disparity between a 1 and a 16 is about 20 points any longer. Like that's what you're looking at. That's the way that everything has come together in the era of players leaving, and now you add in NIL and the portal and all that stuff. So day one in the books. Now, day two, obviously, it starts with the fact that Maryland does play basketball today. That is a thing that's going to occur. But, yeah. It comes at about the weirdest time possible. As Jeff Erman alluded to us yesterday, there was a Damon Evans story coming. As it turns out, that Damon Evans story is he's apparently going to be headed to SMU. I still don't believe that's official. I meant to double check that this morning to see if that's become official, and I don't think it is. But he's apparently headed to SMU. Now, if you haven't heard it yet, can you pull up?
Yeah.
You have it?
I have it ready.
Kevin Willard had a press conference to preview, ostensibly to preview the NCAA tournament. But obviously, given everything that's been going on this week, there was a lot more discussed, and he kind of let loose in his media availability yesterday. Here it was if somehow you missed it.
I wanted to ask about the basketball, too.
Okay.
But, obviously your name has come up as a candidate for various positions because Maryland has done so well this year. Have you felt compelled to address any of that with your team at all about your future at Maryland?
Yeah, I've addressed it with them directly. I'll say this. This is Damon and I talked on Sunday night right before Selection Sunday. He gave me a term sheet right before Selection Sunday. I really wasn't focused on it. Been focused on this team and this. Damon's talked to my agent. I talked to Damon this morning at length about where we are. Obviously, it's difficult right now because I think we know his situation. He's probably going to SMU, so it's kind of tough to negotiate with somebody that's maybe not here. But I need to make fundamental changes to the program. That's what I'm focused on right now. That's why probably a deal hasn't got done, because I want to see, I need to see fundamental changes done. I want this program to be great. I want it to be the best in the country. I want to win a national championship, but there's things that need to change. When you're at a place for 3 years and you put your heart and soul into it, you kind of sit there and say, okay, wait a second, for us to be really successful, X, Y, and Z needs to change. And first and foremost, I need to make sure that we are where we are with NIL, and rev share is not where we've been with NIL in the past 2 years. We've been one of the worst, if not lowest, in the NIL in the last 2 years. So that's first and foremost. I also have to make a fundamental change where I can do the things that I want to do with my program. I wanted to spend an extra night in New York this year to celebrate Christmas with my team, and I was told that we can't do that because it's too expensive. So I don't know how we can be a top-tier program and I can't spend one extra night in New York because it's too expensive. So there's fundamental things I'm fighting for my team and my program. It's not so much about me. I want to make sure that whatever we do going forward, we're successful, and we're successful at the highest rate. So I'm confident that we'll get things done. It's a little difficult right now, I'm not going to lie. But I'm confident that no matter who we're negotiating with at the end of the day, this program is going to be in a great spot. And that's really my focus, is this tournament, this team, and this program.
Wow. So, yeah, obviously there's a ton in there and a ton to unpack. And as I poked around yesterday and tried to get a little bit more information from people that I know around the program, there's a few things there. Clearly, there appears to be no love lost between Kevin Willard and Damon Evans. And I didn't know, I was trying to figure out if that was like a personal animosity. It really does feel more like it's just a vision type of thing. That Damon Evans, as I think he has been tasked to do, has been sort of forced to prioritize football, being that Maryland moved into the Big Ten, and that if you're going to be there, football, as much as we don't believe Maryland football is ever capable of being anything that matters, is the biggest revenue driver. Your ability to stay in the Big Ten, your ability to stay and compete at the highest level and get the biggest television dollars is tied directly to football. We talked about this yesterday with Ken Zales. There's a reason why no one is scrambling to make sure Duke is in their football league. It's because even the single biggest revenue driver for basketball still isn't as big a revenue driver as a football program. So the priority has been football. It's a weird juxtaposition if the belief is that Kevin Willard wants Damon Evans gone, he wants him at SMU. The next obvious question is, has Kevin Willard been given some assurance that the next athletic director would be more basketball focused? And to my understanding, the answer is no. There has been no assurance of such a thing. And to my understanding, there's no reason to think that that would be the case. So it still comes back, and I know that our friend Jeff Herman from InsideMDSports.com has been doing a lot of this. Like, if this is a power play and that Kevin Willard is only using the Villanova job in order to try to get more power at Maryland, will that even work? There were a few virtual eye rolls in the text that I sent yesterday about him trying to create that New York thing as a bit of a sob story. A lot of people think that was a bit more personal. Like Kevin Willard, that's where he's from. Like he wanted to be there for another night. In fact, I can tell you that the travel schedule related to that trip actually screwed up some things that players are trying to do. So trying to make it seem like it was I was just trying to do something nice for my players.
Come on, Christmas in Harlem, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's fun. It's a fun place to be. But I think that falls flat and sounds very rehearsed and very much like cutting a promo. Like, I'm just out here trying to be a good coach. Like, yeah, that kind of doesn't work. And it really does still, to me, continue to come down to, is there someone that has power at Maryland that is going to say, all right, Kevin Willard, we're going to shift more focus to basketball? Because what he's talking about is a bigger problem throughout the state's university system. The system had its budget slashed significantly. It's not just Maryland basketball. The entire system had to go through cuts. So like that story of, I don't have the budget to be able to spend another night in New York. Well, there are other... I'm trying to see how I can say this. There are other programs within the state system that have had far more comical cuts. Like, I'm telling you, without telling you who it is, there is a university system sport, a team that was flying to a game. The travel was obviously a flight. But they were told, as part of these budget cuts, you can only fly one way. One way, you're going to have to drive. So the choice was, of course, fly to the game, so the players are in,
better shape.
Right? Like it takes less of a toll of them than a long bus ride would take, and then drive back. That's the type of stuff that's happening. And I know there are other examples. I was told a few other examples yesterday. There are budget cuts throughout the university system, which isn't just Maryland. It's Towson's part of the university system. UMBC's part of the university system. I think UMES, if I remember correctly, is part of the university system. The public schools, Coppin and Morgan, within the state, are part of the university system. So that's not unique. That's not an attack on Maryland basketball. It's the reality of the budget crisis that has fallen the state's university system, that they've basically told everyone you've got to share. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. So Kevin Willard trying a power play of, I can't have that happen to me, I don't know how that's going to fall. I don't know that there's going to be listening. My gut tells me there won't. My gut is the response to this will be shrug shoulders. But if there is someone, and that's the part that I keep trying to get an answer to, and I don't have one. If there's someone whose opinion matters, who shares the idea that Maryland is a basketball school and shouldn't give the same emphasis to football, then we'll see. Will Damon Evans be replaced internally? Again, the sense that I got is probably not. There are some really highly respected people within the department that have, you probably remember recently, like gone a long way towards getting major donations. And like fundraising is good. It's a good thing. But running a Big Ten athletic department, you're typically looking for someone that has experience. You're typically looking for someone who's been an athletic director already. We'll see. I couldn't get a confirmation on that as I poked around on it yesterday. It's still, and this all comes under the guise of two things. It comes under the guise of an acceptance that Kevin Willard isn't really going to take the Villanova job and is just using the Villanova job to try to better his situation at Maryland. And that is a held opinion by a lot of people. But I still wonder, like, he doesn't even know if at some point he has no assurance from Maryland. Let's say Maryland loses on Sunday. Say they lose today. And on Monday, Villanova says, you either got to tell us now or we're hiring Chris Collins. And he's got an assurance from Villanova that his situation, contract is one thing, but his situation will be better. His situation will be higher budget, will be whatever else, will be improved NIL, all of those things. Not NIL, revenue share. If that's the assurance that he's got, then it's an interesting spot to be in. He doesn't know who the person is that can give him that assurance at Maryland, and yet it's coming at Villanova.
Hey, Greivis, you got me okay? You hear me?
Does he just say, hey, I got no choice. I got to go. Remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. And how does it impact what happens this weekend? Can the players involved completely distract themselves, have nothing to do with it, and merely be focused on playing Grand Canyon and, if they win, whoever they would play on Sunday? Joining us now here on GCR, one of our absolute favorite human beings, one of the greatest players in Maryland basketball history. And now he's, of course, a broadcast mogul, as he does Westwood One during the NCAA Tournament, the Spanish broadcasts. And, of course, you also see him on Monumental Sports Network. He is our friend, Mr. Greivis Vasquez, and he is back with us this morning here on GCR. Greivis, it's Glenn. It's always good to catch up, buddy. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Excited.
Man, it's great to hear your voice. Can I, first of all, like this part of it, because I remember we talked to you, and I remember watching the doc, and it was so powerful to me. Does doing media now the way that you're doing it, does it get the juices flowing the way that it once did for you as a player?
Yeah, of course. I can never lose that. I always bring the juice, the energy. I just love talking hoops and analyzing hoops and able to watch players, high-level players. And it's fun, man, you know. And as a former professional basketball player, it's always good to create the network for the post-career, because you never know what's going to happen. So I'm really thankful of the opportunity that I have with Monumental Sports Network, and you know, everyone that works in the network that been helping me, and I'm doing a great job guiding me. I consider my rookie, because I'm doing TV live, English and Spanish. So I'm proud of that, and I'm thankful.
Well, given you and your personality, I'm not remotely surprised. Not remotely surprised by how this has worked out for you. Greivis, I have to ask this question. As you know, there's so many there's so much outside noise right now surrounding this Maryland program as they go into the NCAA tournament, and the future of Damon Evans and the future of Kevin Willard. how does all of that impact the players? Like, are they completely insulated from that? Are they, hey, the only thing that matters is Grand Canyon, the only thing that matters is playing basketball? Or can any of that stuff impact them and what it is they do on the court this weekend?
Well, I will say two things. I feel like, and I really trust Kevin Willard's leadership and his professionalism along his coaching staff. Why would I say this? Because he knows, how hard it is just to come to, a different program, which is Maryland, live up to the standards and trying to make this program a big program again. And he's just doing that. This year, he put a team together that is fighting to get to the national championship again, to get to the Final Four. It's not going to be easy. So I trust his leadership. I trust that what he's saying in the locker room, in practice, shoot-arounds, is, hey, we need to focus on basketball. We don't need to focus on anything else but basketball. We got to get this win. We gotta play Maryland basketball. Forget about any noises, about any news. But the second thing is that's part of college basketball now.
It's fair.
When you're talking about that you have NIL, a portal, coaches leaving, players leaving, and you're able to get into a portal. That's scary. That's hard to deal with, and for anyone, because it could be a good thing for someone, but it could be a bad thing for someone else. So as of right now, the biggest thing that I look up to is the fact that I trust the leadership of our head coach, Kevin Willard.
It's interesting what you just brought up, Greivis, because I feel like Will Wade, who, of course, just won a game at McNeese yesterday in the tournament, we all know is leaving to take the job at NC State. And, like, he said, I'm very open. The guys all know. Like, nobody in that locker room's like, hey, coach, what's going on? They all know the reality of it. Are we just at the point where, like, even though they're younger, we're talking about professionals? Like, these guys just know this is a business. This is how it works. It doesn't impact us all that much.
Well, unfortunately they learn in a fast way,
yeah,
and also in a hard way, because imagine when I play basketball, when I play college basketball, I wasn't be able to have NIL and
you would have been a billionaire, like you would have been.
And you know what? I don't hate that. I want the players to get paid. I want the coaches to get paid. I'm in the industry that we gotta get the ecosystem of basketball needs to be taken care of, and it is. But the thing is, that's something that you're going to have to deal now, because the reason that this is going on with the NCAA is the fact that the NBA is so ahead of every league in terms of, like, doing signing young players and developing young players. The way they develop their programs, and I'm talking about the NBA, and empowering the G League as they doing. The NCAA didn't have any other options that going into this type of system that is really struggle for the head coaches, because how are you going to develop a player that you can only have for a year? But that's another topic. Right now, what's going on with the Terps is that, hey, look, you're going to hear a lot of noises, a lot of different news, but at the end of the day, if you love basketball, you got 40 minutes, to advance, to continue to make history. Everything else is going to be taken care of. Because if you win, everyone, how the system works right now, if you win, everyone is going to get an opportunity. A better deal somewhere else, and that's how it works. No one can get mad. That's just the system as of right now.
Greivis Vasquez is with us here on GCR. Greivis, as far as the team itself is concerned, you know what? Hang on, let me take a step back. Maryland loses on a buzzer beater to Michigan State a couple weeks ago. Were you having nightmares and flashbacks as you were watching that?
I was really upset. Really upset. I was watching. I sent my nephews over there, and then I'm like, no way. What is going on with Michigan State and Maryland? Like, how can they beat us like that? And we played much better. And it's hard. It's hard. But that's, like I say, it's part of the game. You have to move on. And Maryland did a good job moving on from that game and winning basketball games.
That's the part that really stood out to me, right? Because I feel like for a lot of people, there can be a carryover effect for something like that. And then obviously we saw what happened in the Big Ten tournament with the way they lost the buzzer at Michigan. I assume, given the way they moved on from Michigan State, you don't have much concern about their ability to move on from another heartbreaking loss in the Big Ten tournament.
Well, honestly, my mindset right now, in regards of our team, our Maryland team, and the males and the females, I truly believe we're gonna get things done. I think our focus is where it needs to be. I truly understand that unfortunately we lost against Michigan. I thought they played harder than us, and that's a lesson to be learned. You gotta play hard for 40 minutes. You gotta play physical, even though we 6 seconds before the game was over, we were up. We played. We didn't play better. We're just more talented, but you gotta want it more. So I think that was a great lesson learned for our team. So I believe this weekend is going to be a very productive weekend. Like I said, leadership of Kevin Willard and the coaching staff. What the players bring to the table is important as well. The focus, and I understand I think players understand and coaches understand what is a task or what is in the context of winning this weekend, and it's very important. That is going to open even more doors. That is going to open even more doors to everyone in that roster and the coaching staff.
Greivis, how impressed have you been? I'm not trying to make Kevin Willard Gary Williams because no one is Gary Williams, and we all know that. But I think what has blown us away this season watching this team is how good the adjustments have been in games, how incredible they've been out of timeouts this season. It feels like they have scored on like every possession out of a timeout. How impressed have you been with the in-game coaching of Kevin Willard this season, which, again, isn't Gary Williams, but kind of reminds us of the era of Gary Williams?
I really love the fact that he's really good at making adjustments during the games, and that is telling me that he's over prepared, and that is telling me also, like in practice, the way that he prepares practice, the way he prepares game, it oversees every single detail, and that's a great sign as a coach. He's experienced. He knows what it takes, and he understands the opportunity. That's what I say. I trust leadership. So what he's done so far is coach with passion, which that's a check. Coach with knowledge and expertise, that's another check. Adjustments as we go, games adjustment. Even like throughout the year, the way he recruits, everything he has done as of right now is being impressive. You know what I mean? You can't celebrate too early, but you can. But it's good for us to celebrate because the way the system is now is totally different than when I used to play college basketball. So I really gotta give Kevin Willard his flowers, and like I say, I'm putting a lot of trust and responsibility on him because now leadership is going to take us far in the tournament. And even though the players play, his leadership and his ability to inspire, to connect with players, to give them confidence, to adjust in games decisions and all that stuff is very important.
It sounds like you're saying, maybe we don't need to say, it sounds like you're saying that whatever needs to be done in order to make sure Kevin Willard sticks around at Maryland, you are in favor of making sure that Maryland does that.
I definitely think it has to be like that, and I'll tell you why. Because if you bring somebody else again, it's just trying to find a new rhythm, a new system. So, like, we need to refine our identity, that our base is passion, grind. You got to grind in Maryland. You got to be able to take criticism. We're going to be tough. And I feel like he fulfilled all those checks, on the checklist. He fulfilled all those, every characteristic that you need to coach at Maryland.
By the way, when it comes to passion and being willing to take criticism, I don't think there's a human being that can offer a more definitive a thumbs up than Greivis Vasquez can about those two particular topics, man. Like, I think that is the way it goes. Greivis, so much has been made about concerns about this team's depth throughout the course of the season. We know, obviously, the 5 starters, the Crab 5, if you will, they are spectacular, but there hasn't been much in the way of points off the bench. We know in the NCAA tournament, the timeouts are a little bit longer. Does that help? Are you concerned about the depth as the tournament begins?
Well, it's a concern, but with that being said, it's also an opportunity. I think game will be an opportunity for these players coming off the bench to take advantage. Like, you don't go out through the back door. You know what I mean? Go out and take responsibility of the opportunity. You go out there and compete. You only got 40 minutes, and as much as we like for like the starting five and the way they bring and what they bring to the table, it's important to have a good rotation, which I think Willard has surfaced throughout the whole season. So, my point. As a former player, a TV analyst, and the way I love the game of basketball, his leadership is going to be important. How can he motivate his bench players, the guys that are coming off the bench, to understand their role and to inspire them to produce defensively and offensively for 40 minutes and trying to take it to another game on Sunday. That is important. At the point, coaching has to be the most important thing.
The other thing that jumps out at me, Greivis, I brought your name up a lot this season because I think about how whenever anything would go wrong, like everybody knew, you were the calming factor. When there was like a 5-0, 8-0 run one way, okay, we turn to Greivis and he's going to carry us through this. And this team hasn't necessarily had one singular alpha this year. Like, the idea has been it could be any of them. Some nights it could be Rodney Rice. Some nights it could be Selton Miguel. It looked like down the stretch Derik Queen was taking a little bit more of that on himself. So I ask two parts. Is it important that there be one guy that in the postseason, when things start to go wrong, we know this is on me. It's on me to go carry us through this moment. And did you see from Derik Queen a guy who's ready to be that guy here in the NCAA tournament?
No question. No question. Queen is the guy. He's the chosen one. And I truly believe he developed a really all-star game throughout the season. I see he's a very skilled player. He reminds me of Mini Jokic. He got like this international game where he knows his space, he's secure, he's confident. I like his game of the fact that back down, this kid is special, and he is ready to take this opportunity and the responsibility to take us home, and he knows that.
I love it, man. I love it. Greivis Vasquez, where are we seeing? I know we're hearing you for the Final Four for the Spanish broadcast on Westwood One. When are we seeing you over the course of the next couple of weeks on Monumental?
Well, I'm actually going to DC next week on Wednesday. I have 3 games next week, and like I say, man, Monumental work being so great to me. I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm a rookie, on live television. So I signed a 2-year deal. So hopefully I can build a career with them. I'm looking forward to that. Work with the Washington Wizards and trying to help the team win games as well on TV.
And whatever you can do. I mean, they certainly can use the help. There's no doubt. And then I'd add in, hopefully we're listening to a Greivis Vasquez call of Maryland in the Final Four and winning a national championship, because that would give me goosebumps, bro. That would be incredible.
That would be nice.
Greivis, I love you, brother. I always appreciate you. You're the best. Thank you for spending the time with us this morning. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
Thank you.
Great Greivis Vasquez with us this morning here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time. He's very bullish about Kevin Willard, overwhelmingly bullish about Kevin Willard. And I feel like it's funny because it was brought up yesterday by KZ that if we had this conversation a year ago, if a year ago we found out that somebody was interested in Kevin Willard, more than half of the Maryland fan base would say, great, take him. And then today, what did Jeff Erman say? He thought it was at least 60-40, maybe more like 65-35. I think it might even be as much as 70-30. That would say, I genuinely believe there's something here with Kevin Willard. I genuinely believe Maryland has found something. And some of that is success on the floor. But as has been pointed out, he's never taken Maryland past the first weekend of the tournament. Now, it's a small sample size. He can change that this year. But it's the adaptability to this era of college basketball, to being able to construct a roster in the new era of college basketball, and the genuine impact he appeared to make as an in-game coach. That seems real. And certainly it's juxtaposed against the previous coach. Not that I'm trying to continue to take shots at him. But he appears to be a difference maker. And because he appears to be a difference maker, opinions change. And suddenly, there's more of an opinion that you got to do what you got to do in order to keep this dude around. If only it was as simple as his salary. If only it was that simple. Just saying, hey, what's the number? Fine, you've got the number.
Hey, Adams Griffin with Glenn.
I'm going to keep talking NCAA tournament this morning. There's so much going on. Maryland Grand Canyon, as we mentioned, is coming up later on this afternoon. That's at 4:35 out in Seattle. But before that, down in Raleigh, coming up at 2:50 this afternoon, or around there. Mount St. Mary's off their win over American. They're going to go shock the world. They are America's team today because Mount St. Mary's is preparing to take down Duke. Joining us now to tell us a little bit more about the Mountaineers, one of our favorite people. Of course, you know him not only as the voice of Mount St. Mary's, but for a long time he was the voice of the Bowie Bay Sox. He is our friend. Our buddy Adam Pohl is back with us now here on GCR. Adam, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
What is up, Glenn? We are living the life right now.
I was going to say, man, like how good is
the high life right now?
How good is this? How good is this?
It is super exciting, and today's the day. Let's see if the Mount can shock the world. I love that intro.
Dude, you're definitely America's team. Like, there's no question about that. The entire world, the entire world is behind you. Adam, from your perspective, right? Like, we talked to Donnie this week. We talked to Xavier.
Yeah.
How did this happen? Because, like, the Mount was playing good basketball this season, but the difference between good basketball and competitive and, you know, not drowning in the MAC, which is a really good league, and we all knew there was going to be an adjustment period, to being ready to go win 3 games in 3 days in Atlantic City. What flipped? How did this all come together that the Mount is playing in the NCAA Tournament round of 64?
It's a great question. I mean, I think it's a testament to Coach Lind, his outstanding staff, and really the depth of this roster. You know, you could argue that there were other teams in the MAC that their top 3 players, let's say, were as good as the Mount's top 3 players, but the Mount's 7th and 8th player was far better than anyone else in the league. And that really, really got tested when I think the best big man as far as physicality in our league, Terrell R. Jr., went out in the 4th to last game of the regular season with an Achilles tear. And then the best sharpshooter, 3-point shooter, 46% of the year, Carmelo Pacheco, breaks a finger in the last regular season game. So you've got these 2 unique weapons that the Mount has, and you lose them both in the final 2 weeks of the regular season. I do think, though, that, I mean, the Mount was having a spectacular year. They had their most wins in non-conference play in more than 3 decades as a Division I program. They beat an ACC school. And the Mount was 4-1 in league play when Ard, the big man I spoke to prior, went down initially. He hurt his back, and he was out 7 games. And in those 7 games, the Mount went 2-5. And that's the reason Mount St. Mary's was a 6 seed. So when Ard came back, the Mount won 4 in a row. And then when he got injured again, it's almost like the team had figured out how to play without him. If he was injured for a first time in that 4th to last game, I don't think we would have been here. So the Mount would have probably been a 2 seed going into the MAC tournament, not a 6 seed, but they would have lost because they wouldn't have figured out how to play without him. So the fact that we had this big blip in the middle of the season going 2-5 in that 7-game stretch without him, I think prepared the team to be able to take this or make this incredible run.
So does JD Cordelia have another first half in him like they had the other night in order to, like, can we bottle that up and make sure that that's what we see today?
It's so funny you say that, because the numbers that I was looking at and thinking about was that famous Christian Laettner game, when he hit every shot he took
Right.
in 1992. But Cordelia was 10 for 11 from the floor. And the Mount really needs that, obviously, against American, because American was such an incredible shooting basketball team. I mean, their ability to knock down jump shots was just about unparalleled compared to any team the Mount had played this year. And that's also with the high majors that the Mount has played this season. But Mount St. Mary's had a decisive advantage down low, even with Ards being out. And really Cordelia and Adebayo took advantage of it. But JD was so big early because American was raining threes in that game in the first half, and it didn't matter.
Let's remind everybody that the Mount has a win over an ACC team this season already.
Yes.
I'm not trying to suggest that Miami is Duke, because obviously we know that's not the case. But do you feel like that, have you gotten the sense that having done that, and we know how, transformational a moment that was, that does benefit them and their belief that they can compete today?
No, I love it. The Mount's got a better win percentage in the ACC than Duke this year. I think Duke.
It's fair, right?
What were they? They were 19-1. They won 3 tournament games, so they were 22-1. But the Mount was 1-0.
That's a fact. They were 1,000, batting 1,000. That's
right. So, but Mount St. Mary's each year plays more high major teams than the majority of teams that play in their former league, the NEC, or their current league, the MAC. And I do think that really prepares them out for these moments. And the last time the Mount was in the round of 64, they played the number 1 team in the nation, Villanova. This was in 2017. Villanova won the titles in 16 and 18. And Villanova was just, they just had NBA players everywhere. Literally, we were playing the New York Knicks. Frankly, right, in that game. Mm-hmm. And the Mount was winning 2 minutes into the second half. So I do think that 2 things will help them out today. Number 1 being the fact that they play 3 or 4 teams of a high major variety every year. And probably the best team the Mount played this year was Maryland. And then the second piece of that puzzle being that this season, you always say you win with guards. And the Mount's got some good guards, but the Mount's front court is, the Mount had the best front court in the MAC without question this season. And I think that really, really helps you when you play against high majors, because so often against these high major teams, when they miss jump shots or they're just able to drive the ball to the hoop and just lay the ball in, they just overpower you physically. And I don't think this Mount team's going to get completely overpowered physically today.
What is the roadmap, Adam? What if there is a path to the and I don't. We know it's been done. This has happened twice in tournament history. It's not unprecedented. Yeah. If there is a path, what is that roadmap in your mind that this needs to look like for the Mount to have a shot at pulling off this monumental upset?
Great question. I've not talked to Coach Lind about this yet. Obviously, I've not tried to pick his brain to see how's the Mount going to get this done. But this is the Adam Pohl roadmap. Okay. So the cool thing about the Mount, I think, this year is they have been, because of their depth, able to play different styles and kind of figure games out as they go. And so quite often they've gotten off to early deficits and then been able to rebound. Many fans listening in today of basketball watched, possibly the Mount's game against American. Well, in that game, the Mount played very fast, and because they had an athletic mismatch in a way against America. Mismatch is the wrong word, but they had a slight advantage in that capacity. That's not going to be the case here today. So my expectation is that the Mount, who is a very good team in the half court, I think Mount St. Mary's is going to try to slow the game down. And the key for the Mount is going to be to minimize turnovers. Mount St. Mary's was last in the 13-team MAC in turnover margin. This has been their Achilles heel all year. They've been a great rebounding team. They can shoot the three very well. They're a good half-court defensive team. But those things are going to be tested at a high level today. Duke has a top 5 defense in college basketball. So the ability to not turn the ball over, I think, at an enormous rate is going to be huge. So if they play the slow-down game, minimize possessions, hit a ton of threes in, let's say, the last 5 to 10 seconds of the shot clock, force Duke to take jump shots, make it a jump shot kind of game, and then they've got to minimize offensive rebounds for the Blue Devils. It's something they've done a great job of this year, but they've got to physically get on the glass. You mentioned Cordelia. His big number today is not points. It's all about rebounds. He's got to be able to rebound a jump shot miss today against some huge Blue Devils. Their whole team is 6'6" and above. So it's going to be a great it's just a great opportunity for this team.
I'm just going to warn you, Adam, if somehow they pull this off, the next time I see you, I might just kiss you on the mouth. Like, I'm just telling you right now. Like, this would make my year in a way that I can't possibly describe to you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when the brackets started getting unveiled, I really thought that the Mount would be in this spot, to play what would be the eventual second 1 seed in the tournament. Yeah. And I was wondering if that was going to be Auburn, Duke, or Florida. And when I saw Auburn announced as the overall number 1 seed, I just started laughing because I knew that meant that the Mount was going to be lined up with Duke, and here we are.
Adam, happy for you that you get to enjoy this week and be out there making memories with the guys. How can people listen to your broadcast today?
Yeah, it's you can listen on the Varsity Network, which is a Learfield property. So just search Mount and you'll get it.
Very good. This afternoon down in Raleigh, Mount St. Mary's and Duke, listening to our buddy Adam Pohl starting around. Wait, I assume it starts just before tip-off?
Yeah, I'm going to start at 20 minutes before tip. Excellent. So 2:30 for a 2:50 tip.
Excellent. Adam, enjoy it, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always, buddy.
Thanks,
Let's talk
Glenn.
soon, all right?
See ya.
That's Adam Pohl, play-by-play voice of Mount St. Mary's, one of our favorite people. And go. God. I got a broadcast on TV to work this afternoon. It's going to be really awkward when I'm naked. Like, going to be really uncomfortable for everybody when I start shedding my clothes if Mount St. Mary's somehow beats Duke today.
Will you actually do that?
I bet me that I won't. Well, it's out of school. I don't want to get arrested.
Yeah, but Mount St. Mary's is.
I understand. Hartford, the Whale beating the. All right, when we come back in, we're gonna stay on the hoops front. Ed DeChellis, longtime Navy coach, coached more games than any coach in Navy history. He announced his retirement this week. He'll join us next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Glenn Clark and I sit down for a Q&A with Orioles owner David Rubenstein, discussing what he learned from his first year as owner, his goals both on and off the field, and his involvement in baseball decisions. Also inside, Brooks DeBose profiles new Oriole Tyler O'Neill, and we meet college lacrosse players from around the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Back in here on GCR into hour number 2 of the program. Our next guest announced this week that he was going to be retiring after 14 seasons at Navy, and he's been a head coach in Division I dating all the way back to 1996 at East Tennessee State. Of course, stop at Penn State before that. He's been a regular with us over the years. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the program Coach Ed DeChellis. Coach, it's Glenn. It's good to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Well, Glenn, thank you. Thanks for having me on. You know, us retired guys, we got to kind of work you into our schedule. We're so busy now.
You're out there. So how much golf have you played in the last 2 days?
I haven't played any. I've been in here, Wednesday we had the announcement and stuff, but Thursday and today are just like every other day, just a lot of things to clean up. And Chet's been great through this whole thing, so I'm sort of, hanging out here and making sure somebody turns off the lights at the end of the night and somebody opens up in the morning. So we're just keeping an eye on everything right now.
Coach, at the risk of getting emotional, because we talked before the season, I think you know how much Pete meant to me. Reading what you told Wags about how much, not just his, but obviously another close friend of yours' death hit you, and the decision that you made and how that impacted that decision. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, my wife and I have been thinking about this for over a year, and, it's always, you think you want to do it, but you're not sure you want to do it. I have a lot of energy. I enjoy what I do. I love coaching. I love being around kids. What was pulling me was that, my daughters, I have 3 daughters. They live 9 hours away. One lives in Tennessee, one lives in Charlotte, one lives in Clemson, South Carolina. And, we don't see the girls enough. And I've got 3 grandkids. We don't see them enough. But, we do FaceTime and all those types of things. But, and it was just, girls are just pulling us, and my grandkids are pulling us. But you weigh that with, hey, I love to do what I'm doing, and what would I do if I didn't coach? And Glenn, Pete and I spent a lot of time together after games on road games, because he would drive up to do the radio, and then he would turn around and drive back, and I would just jump in a car with him. And so he didn't have to drive back from whatever, Lehigh, Lafayette, Bucknell, Colgate by himself. And he always talked about, the things that he wanted to do. And it sticks in my mind that him and Brenda, he wanted to someday, move to Myrtle Beach and play golf and live that life. And, he never obviously got to do that. And as I sat, several nights, sleepless nights, kind of contemplating this and talking to my lovely bride of 40 years, I didn't want to have any regrets. I want to see my kids. I want to see my grandkids. I want to spend more time with my wife. Because in this profession, you're home and you're really not home because your mind's somewhere else. Or I'm watching film at night, or I'm planning practice, or I'm making recruiting calls. So even when you're home, your attention is not where it's supposed to be. So I didn't want to have any regrets, and I saw what Pete went through, and I thought, this is another glaring moment in my life where, I got to do what I got to do for my family. And, so I said to my wife, I said, honey, my goal is try to be the best husband, the best father, the best grandfather I can be. And I can't do both. I can't be a coach at Division I level and the time and energy it takes to run the program and give you guys the energy and the time that you would so well deserve. So, but that was a moment where I thought, my God, my dear friend Pete didn't get to do what he wanted to do, and I didn't want to have any regrets.
I appreciate all that, Coach. I think it's powerful, and I am glad that you're going to be able to have that time to spend with your family. I reflect on this because I remember when you came to the Naval Academy, and a lot of us were like, why would somebody leave Penn State to come to Navy? And I know it's a special place. How meaningful is it to you that you were able to do this for a decade and a half in this place, in Annapolis, with such an unbelievable group of young men?
Yeah, I really, and that's the hard part of it. I enjoy going to practice. I enjoy these kids coming through the office. I enjoy talking to them. Like, it just keeps me going, and that's the hard part of this thing. I cherish every moment. Like, I don't, the wins and losses sort of fade away. But the memories, I spend, I don't know, what's today, Friday morning? I spent 2 hours this morning. I spent, probably in the last 3 days, I've probably spent 8 to 10 hours returning texts and phone calls to former players from Navy, from Penn State, from East Tennessee State, and in general, people who I've met along the way, in the profession, and other coaches. But the players, I'm just so proud of what they do. I'm so proud to be part of their lives, and in a small way that I help them with their leadership ability in the Marines or Navy now. I hope, because they'll say to me, Coach, I tell my guys this because, you told me that. And because they all have teams out there now too. They're all in command. They all have people that report to them, and so they will say, I find myself using some of your Edisms and that you say to us all the time. And, well, I take that as a that's a tribute to me, I guess, somewhat. But, I'm proud of who they are. I'm proud of what they become. I'm proud of how they, the fathers they become, the husbands they become. And that's the most special thing. I got a text this morning from a former player here in Japan, Worth Smith, who was telling me, he made me tear up. Some of the things he talked about when he came here as an 18-year-old kid, and how he left at 22, and how he serves our country in Japan as a naval officer, and the experiences he had on the basketball court helped him prepare for that. So those are the things that I remember and want to remember, and I think that's why I came. I thought there was more out there than just. I was hoping that it would be what it was. It's more than just about winning games. It's trying to help people, achieve their goals. It's trying to help people become better leaders. And so it's everything I thought it would be and more. I'm so blessed to be able to do it and meet the people along the way. That I've been able to meet, either the Pentagon or colleagues or media folks like yourself. Like, it's just, I'm a very, very blessed man, and I take that very, very seriously.
In general, there's not a whole lot of guys that get to do this on their own terms. Like, that's even that alone.
Yeah.
You're kind of beating the odds in that way.
Yeah, I've been the head coach for 29 years. I've tried to do it the same way. I try to stay grounded. I believe in certain things, and the standards are the standards, and we do things a certain way. We've done them that way for my 29 years, 40 years in the profession. And I try to, just to do the right thing. Just always try to do the right thing and take care of people as best you can. And the good Lord's blessed me.
Coach, I wonder if, from a basketball standpoint, knowing that like Donovan and Austin are coming back for another year, and that you just made this run to the championship game, and my God, knowing it, I'm so angry that the movie didn't get the right final scene. But like, did that any way make you think like maybe one more year, run it back with these guys as seniors? Did you go through any of that?
Yeah, and then Pete Medhurst would be in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'd say, okay, I could win some games this year and maybe make the championship, maybe win the championship. And I'm thinking they're not putting that on my gravestone. What I want them to say, and I've talked to my wife and I kind of kid about it, is, he was a husband, a father, a grandfather. That's it. Tried to be the best husband, father, grandfather he could be. I have great kids here. I have great kids, and that's the hard part. I want to spend time with them. I love these guys. They've given me a whole lot. But I'm always one that, and no disrespect to anybody, but I've always wanted to leave the program better than I found it.
Yeah.
And we weren't, to be quite honest, we weren't very healthy when I got here 14 years ago, and I think now we're pretty healthy. And I wanted to leave it to somebody, and this is a healthy program. Kids know what they're doing. We got a great culture. We got players back. We got starting five back. We got other guys back. Probably have a chance to be 1, 2, or 3 in the league preseason, easily. And so somebody's going to walk into a pretty good situation, and that's what I want. As I told the kids in my meeting with them on Wednesday, Glenn, I want to see you guys in the NCAA tournament. Yep. I'll be the guy cheering for you. I'll be right behind you. That's what I want to see. I want to see these guys cut down nets in the Patriot League Championship, and I want to see them in the NCAA tournament, and I'll be there every step of the way in a different role. But that would give me great satisfaction.
Is there any basketball involved? Is it totally gone? Is there a consultant role, something like that, or is it do you have to sort of like detox in a way?
It is amazing. Well, Chet's been great for me. So Chet, our athletic director, Chet Gladstock, as you know, has asked me to stay on here as an advisory role.
Yeah.
Make sure everything is good with our program until we get somebody hired.
Yep.
And then I'll kind of, play it by ear after that. Like how much, if it's an internal candidate here, which I think we have one, he doesn't need as much help as somebody else coming from the outside would need help. So I've been willing to help in any way. I've gotten texts from colleagues of mine saying, hey, let's talk when this is all over. I'm looking for like a special assistant, and maybe you could come and hang out. I'm like, whoa. I haven't even played a round of golf yet or caught a fish. Let me see how that works and where this would be. I've got guys in the NBA who reached out to me and say, hey, Coach, would you be willing to go scout some games in the NCAA tournament right now? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Good for you.
So, those things might be down there. And if I get bored, I don't know. My wife said to me the other day, yesterday morning, Thursday was my first official day retired. She goes, it's 7:45. You better get going because traffic's going to be heavy, getting into the academy. And I go, geez, you're pushing me out the door. She goes, I've been running this house for 40 years, and don't think you're going to come in here and sit around because I will enter the transfer portal. And I said, okay, I got it. I get my lunch. She goes, your lunch is on the table. Grab it and get going. So here I came, Glenn, just like every other day. I'm the only guy that retired and came back to work.
Got to go back to work, right? Yeah, 100%. Coach.
But, it's been great.
we're happy for you, for your family, obviously, and it's really, it hits me hard because I love Pete, and he was an incredibly important person in my life, and I'm glad that you've got him in mind when you say nope. There's no turning back.
No.
I want to have this life now, and I'm so happy for you. And I really, the quality of coach, but also is to the quality of human being that you've been, not just with us, but with everybody in that community. It was not lost, and certainly I'm thankful for the fact that you always took time for us, and really appreciate that, Coach. We are wishing you absolutely the best, and thank you for spending time with us this morning.
All right. I appreciate it, Glenn. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Coach Ed DeChellis, retiring after 14 years at Navy. Gonna need a second here. What's this thing in the corner of my eye? Ernie Nestor was his longtime assistant, and Ryan Odom brought up Ernie Nestor the other day as well. And I didn't know Ernie Nestor, so I don't want to speak out of turn, and I know that he was a legendary figure in his own right, but it's really powerful listening to him talk about how, Pete didn't get the chance to have that twilight part of his life, and I'm not going to miss out on mine. And good for Ed DeChellis, man. Good for Ed DeChellis. And yeah, to the point, it's a really good situation to be in. Veterans coming back, Austin Benini, Donovan Draper. There's a huge opportunity, and it did strike me like, why wouldn't you? Why not one more year? You just made the final of the Patriot League. You got the key pieces coming back as seniors. It's not like other jobs where hey, they were good, so you're worried they're going to run off and just take some money somewhere else. But this is the priority, and this is what matters, and I have incredible respect for that. That's awesome. Good on Coach DeChellis. We're into spring sports season, and lots of big early season lacrosse games, baseball, softball coming up. You can find out everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland by going to countysports.zone. It's countysports.zone. It's proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. We're going to talk some Orioles, check in with our buddy Stan the Fan when we come back in. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
March is a slam dunk at Live Casino. Catch all the basketball action and more at Sports and Social. Enter our $80,000 Dolce & Gabbana giveaway on March 28th. And catch the Baltimore baseball jersey giveaway March 31st. Take your shot at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Glenn Clark and I sit down for a Q&A with Orioles owner David Rubenstein, discussing what he learned from his first year as owner, his goals both on and off the field, and his involvement in baseball decisions. Also inside, Brooks DeBose profiles new Oriole Tyler O'Neill, and we meet college lacrosse players from around the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Friday edition of the program that has just been flying by today. Tomoyuki Sagano, that the whole isn't giving up on a run. Well,
It's spring training. I mean, come on.
I agree. The problem is that's why none of the other stuff mattered before. This is the
No, it
this
did
is
matter.
the way to,
He
no,
was-
it doesn't.
He didn't allow a run before.
None of it matters.
yesterday
We
was
have
spring training.
no idea. Now, he's going to be in the rotation, to be clear. Like, there's no debate about that. They paid him money. He's going into the rotation. But it was a tough night for Tomoyuki Sagano last night as the Orioles. I'm not going to pretend like I was watching the game. They gave up 9 runs. The
What do you mean?
Yankees
What
last
else were
night.
you watching
Yeah,
yesterday?
believe it or not, there was something else that was a priority of mine. I know that sounds crazy. What? You weren't just watching baseball? Yeah, you're not gonna believe this, but I wasn't. But it was popping up on my Twitter feed, the different highlights, and Sagano gave up 5 runs on 6 hits and 2 walks over 4 2/3 against the Yankees. So the scoreless streak in spring training has come to a close. That said, it is spring training. And I don't think any of it matters. If you thought that the scoreless streak mattered, then what happened last night has to matter. You don't get to pick and choose which parts of it matter. Like, oh, well, he was trying for a little while, but then he stopped
He
trying.
probably hadn't seen those hitters before last night.
Yeah,
You know,
that's probably. So they had the advantage?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he just, they
Sure.
didn't have a scout or whatever. So.
Right. Normally it works the other way. The pitchers typically have the advantage in that situation.
No, well, the hitters have been watching him. They were like, "Oh, this guy's on a scoreless streak."
They've been
No
studying.
longer.
Got it.
They took
So
it personal that he was.
They
on,
studied Sagano, but
know.
Sagano didn't study them. Yeah, that's.
Well, Sagano's busy. Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Working on
It's a good
other
point.
things.
That's probably the. Anyway, the moral of the story is rough night. Rough night. Also, not a great night for Matt Bowman, who I don't think any of us believe is the problem with injuries is you never know when somebody's an option, as he got tagged as well for a 3-run homer last night. But all that said, it's still spring training. It doesn't matter all that much. The only real questions that sort of linger moving forward continue to be, what is the reality for Gunnar Henderson? And there had been so much encouragement about the possibility that he'd be ready for opening day, but given the fact that the Orioles have been playing Jackson Holliday so much at shortstop, that kind of feels like, there's maybe not quite as, like, if you were convinced that Gunnar Henderson's ready for opening day, then why are you having Jackson Holliday do anything but play second base? I don't know that Ramon Urias needs the reps that badly. Let's talk about all of it. Checking in with us now, back from Florida, in one piece, mostly in one piece. He is our friend, Stan the Fan Charles, Chief Grand Poobah. What's going on, pal? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling okay. How you doing, Glenn?
I'm all right, buddy. I'm so conflicted by, like, the word. It seems so encouraging, the idea that Gunnar Henderson could be ready for opening day, but every day that Jackson Holliday is playing shortstop makes me think that, like, that's misleading encouragement. Why would they be continuing to have Jackson Holliday play shortstop if they knew for sure that Gunnar Henderson was going to be ready to go on opening day?
Yeah, I don't. My personal opinion is I think it's not much ado about nothing, because whenever you miss Gunnar Henderson in your lineup, whether it's 3 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, I think there's nothing good that can come from that.
Sure.
But I don't think the story. I think it's leaning toward he's not going to be ready for opening day, and I think the protection by playing Jackson Holiday at short, while short-lived, I think it's about whether or not Gunnar might incur another injury with this thing, and it becomes a longer thing. But I don't think he will play much short at all.
So let me follow. You don't think there's any second layer to this, which is that like there's maybe some consideration to reconfiguring the infield altogether?
No, no. I think Soto is going to probably make the team and be the starting shortstop the first 3 to 5 games.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Whatever it takes for
right
Gunnar
now.
Henderson to get back. That makes some sense.
Yeah. And you got to be honest. It's really one of those stories that you love to have him there opening day.
Sure.
But what I don't want is a tweak where he's gone for another 3, 4 weeks.
162 game season. Get him there whenever he can get there. I completely agree with that. Stan, it feels like the only the big question that's left is, will the fifth starter be Cade Povich or will it be Albert Suarez? My preference has been that it would be Cade Povich, just because you feel like there's more of a chance of upside for Cade Povich, that maybe he's not just a placeholder, maybe he really is someone that can be a difference maker, whereas it feels like Suarez really would just be a placeholder. Where are you at with the Povich-Suarez conversation?
I'm a huge Povich fan, and that's not taking anything away from Suarez. My gut tells me, and I've never seen Povich come in out of the bullpen, my gut tells me that Suarez can be very flexible that way and be, especially right now with Bautista problematic, Kittredge down, Dominguez pitching the way he is. I don't see any reason why Suarez couldn't evolve to be the guy to get some saves early in the season.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that. I was thinking that you needed him as to be your long man, right? Like the guy that gives you innings. It would, boy.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying he's closer day one.
Right.
I'm saying he's flexible enough to give you 3 innings one day and 2 innings 2 days later, come in and get 1 or 2 outs in the 9th inning. I mean, right now, Dominguez scares the crap out of me right now.
Oh, I get it. I mean, that's kind of the story, though, right? Like, that's kind of what you sort of baked into the cake with him. That's the.
I got to be honest. He scared the crap out of me when they agreed to keep him on at what he's making.
Look, there is stuff there that there's going to be a stretch where you're like, damn, what a 10 days this has been for Dominguez, and then there's probably going to be a stretch where another home run, huh? How about that?
I'm watching last night. I was sort of off and on watching, going back and forth with a little of the NCAA.
Right.
And there's Dominguez, and they're talking him up, saying, he's got terrific stuff. And I go, maybe it was all just, he's going through the motions, and now he's really turning it on. And then all of a sudden he just gives up. There's Dominguez,
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of hullabaloo earlier this week about Kobe Mayo's comments. Apparently, he felt the need that he had to clean them up. I had absolutely zero issue with what he said, Stan, because what he didn't say was, I'm not going to go down to Norfolk and try, or I refuse to go to Norfolk or something. His point is exactly, to me, correct, which is whatever he does at Norfolk, if it's good, we're going to respond by saying, right, well, that's what he should be doing there. He's right. And then if he struggles, we're going to panic about it. So what he actually said, the point that he made, is correct. In that way, it's a lose-lose. I was kind of stunned by how much pushback there was to what Kobe Mayo said, simply because it was about as honest as someone can be. Is he supposed to say, oh, heck yes, I'm glad I'm going to AAA. That's where I want to be. I don't want to help this team right now.
You'd like to have seen maybe some acknowledgement. I didn't feel the need, and I got to be honest, I was really busy this week seeing doctors and all that. So I didn't feel the need that an apology was necessary, but I didn't hear that in his comments he said, I got to admit, I looked pretty lousy last year when I came up, and I didn't do a lot this spring to really push, make the case that I'm ready. So that I'd just like to see a little bit more of the mea culpa on that front. But I don't really think there's that big a deal that he's upset that he's going to the AAA, because he most likely will mash at AAA.
I would assume that he would mash at AAA. Have you changed? Like every time, like the other day, he makes this great play at third base. Are you at all interested in more? That, like, to me, the one benefit that could come from, Kobe Mayo being at AAA would be if they genuinely do believe he can play third base and they want more time for it. Not that they even have a hole for a third baseman in Baltimore, so I'm not really sure how much that it benefits them. I just remain so skeptical. No matter how many times he makes a play at third base that makes you say, wow, maybe there is something there. I'm just so skeptical that he can do it that I don't really need to see him continue to play third base in the minors.
Yeah, I'd like to see them commit to him as a first baseman. And that's not totally saying that he's incapable of playing Major League third base as a regular. I just don't see the pathway right now for him at that position. And while I'm hopeful that what we're seeing out of Ryan Mountcastle is not mirage, my gut tells me it is somewhat mirage. I'd like to see him do some of what he's been doing, like in the seventh inning of a regular season game when the game's on the line, But I also think if Ryan Mountcastle has a 30 home run year this year, drives in 95 runs and hits 260, I'm not sure I want to give him 3 or 4 years and then he falls back to what he's been. So I think the path is there for Mayo. If he just goes about his business, there's a good path that there'll be an injury to either O'Hearn or Mountcastle, and he'd be the most likely guy to bring up.
Anything else that's still on your radar before opening day? Like anything else that you still think needs to be cleared up between now and really at this point next week?
No, I really wish, I was down there while a truncated trip because of the accident. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of actual production by Heston Kjerstad,
Okay.
He enters this season to me as really suspect more than prospect at this point in time. I'm very comfortable that we're going to see a vastly different Jackson Holiday this year. I think he's going to be an impact player, and I think it's going to come via the fact he's going back to what he should be, is let the homers come when they come, let the doubles and triples come when they come, just get on base and create a little havoc and be there for Gunnar and Adley to knock you in,
Any concern at all about the fact that Sagano got hit up last night?
No, not really. Not really. I like what I've seen. I like a lot what I've seen out of Sagano, Povich, Suarez, and Morton. Again, we talked about this last week. Haven't seen anything I like this spring out of Kramer, but I got a feeling he's the veteran, just kind of getting his work in, working on noodling on a couple things. So I think he'll be what he is, like a number 3 guy. But I think the rotation's going to hold up. The bullpen scares me a little bit right now with Kittredge down and Dominguez so ineffective.
All right. Anything else that's going on in your world? Anything else on your mind?
No. I found those. I guess you've talked about it. I found those comments by Kevin Willard to be out there.
It's what a week, right? Like, hey, happy NCAA tournament. The program's in upheaval. Happy.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. This seems like a real power play by Kevin right now to really take over the program in a way that we probably haven't seen. Gary struggled with taking it over from Debbie Yao.
She wouldn't let him.
Lefty, remember when Lefty said, we'll see who has we'll see who has the power around here.
Yeah.
Willard really wants to make himself the face of the program, and that's not a bad face in my opinion.
Look, I'm on board with Kevin Willard right now, and I like everything about him. I just don't know that he can win this. It really does come to a place where, Stan, this is the new world order in football, where everybody has to position themselves to get into whatever this super conference is going to be when it's all said and done. Leaves a school like Maryland in a really tumultuous spot, because while all of us can say football's never going to be where your bread is buttered, they're going to say, but financially it has to be. We don't have a choice. I know you're a Duke guy, but nobody is fighting to get Duke into their league. They don't, and they're the most valuable basketball brand in the country, and none of these conferences want them because they don't come with football, and so you have to be swimming in these waters football wise, or else you're going to get left in the dust. And I don't know that Kevin Willard can. I don't know that there's another AD that would come in and would say, you know what, I've changed. You're right. We gotta sacrifice football for what you guys are doing basketball wise, because we're a basketball school. It's a terrible spot to be in, to be a basketball first school at the moment.
It's a tricky spot, but I think we'd all agree that while you have to swim in those waters, in the football waters, the chances of them
we know.
getting
football.
to where the basketball program
not
can
a chance.
be. Not a chance.
But it's really tough. It would almost be that you would have to accept that in the future you're essentially a Mountain West football program, right? That's what you'd have to do, is say we de-emphasize football, we take more of the money and we move it over to basketball, and then the Big Ten says you're obviously not a Big Ten football program if you're not spending like that, and you're out. And then are you okay being – I'm trying to think of – are you okay having a Colorado State-like football program at Maryland and just hoping for the best basketball-wise? And I don't know. We all know you're right. Kevin will they could be great at basketball with greater emphasis, but can they exist as an athletic department and within a structure where the state has slashing budget? Can they do what they need to do if they lose out on that football money that comes with it? And
I think part of the equation has to be an intense look at Mike Loxley's future here. Is he the guy? We know that he's lifted them. We all like him. Mm-hmm. We respect him. The barbecues are nice, but is the coaching up to the level it needs to be?
I think we can ask that question, and then the follow-up would be, but who would want the job if it's not Mike Loxley? This is a fascinating. It doesn't really. It's actually bad for sports talk radio, because there's really no one take to have about this. Because I think Maryland should try to keep Kevin Willard. I really do. I think they should. I think he's proven his mettle as a coach beyond just the success, but he makes a difference in games. There is value there that clearly didn't exist with his predecessor, that makes a difference. That said, he's also never really accomplished anything as a college basketball coach.
I hear you. I have to be honest. I side with Willard because I'm not a big Damon Evans fan, never have been. But I didn't know. I didn't need to know that story about New York. It sounds a little like you're pulling out violins or something like that.
And I would tell you that a lot of people involved think that it was a bit self-serving too. Kevin, that's where he's from. He wanted to be in New York. Trying to make it seem like, I'm just trying to do something for the guy. It's just
right.
A little bit much.
Yeah. But I'm a Willard guy because I think he's harder to replace than the AD.
I probably agree with that. I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Are you back in here with us next Friday?
I should be, yep.
Celebrating, hopefully, an Orioles opening day win the day before. Hopefully that's what we're going to be talking about next Friday morning. Always appreciate you, pal. We will talk to you then. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Stan the Fan Charles, Press Box's Chief Grand Poobah, with us here this morning on GCR. I really wish,
the show that we would be required to do to really dive in on the Maryland situation. Like I would tell you that when I bring up like one particular source of mine down there that I go to regularly, I brought up how could Kevin Willard get more power from an AD when an AD is trying to prioritize getting Maryland into the football super conference. And the source that I spoke to yesterday said, yes, but we can't even get there yet. Like the difficulty of like the day-to-day is so overwhelming that like they can't even think like that. We know that's the subtext to all of this. We know that Maryland can't just say, we won't spend this money. And we also know there's a lot of eye rolls about the idea that the money's going to be cut off at $20.5 million. I've heard $22.5 million the last couple of days. It still has to be. It still has to be finalized. Well, the word was it was going to be 20.5, but then I've heard the number 22.5 batted around. Not germane to the topic, but there's a lot of skepticism from people that that's the end of the money. Most people are going to say, dude, there's still going to be NIL money that's going to be thrown around. The story is now that the NCAA is going to scrutinize any NIL deal that goes beyond $600. So if you're making, for example, let's say that you and I were throwing a party and we wanted Derik Queen to come to the party. And Derik Queen was willing to do it for $600.
Our own Project X.
Yes, correct. Then the word is that's fine. So even if Derik Queen never showed up to that party, never did the work, just took our $600, because the truth is we never actually wanted to have him at the party. We just wanted to do something for Derik Queen to try to make him happy at Maryland. All good. But if we paid him $6,000 and he didn't show up, then apparently, allegedly, that would be a violation. The problem is the NCAA has been so toothless that everyone is just going to say, so what? What's going to stop these SEC boosters from daring you to punish the school for our behavior? And that's what makes this, like, it's big brain stuff when you go down this road. We're pretending like everything's going to change in this era of rev share. That the budget is the budget. But to the point, and I was talking about this with my buddy Aaron Oster last night, like these places where they have oil money, like SMU, where Damon Evans is headed, how are you going to stop them if they want to say, we want to be better? How are you going to stop them from spending that money? The NCAA alleges that they will. But now it requires you to trust the NCAA. Like the most feckless organization in the world.
I'm trying to think. Maybe. No.
So it, like the rev share part of this is fascinating because you do get the sense that rev share is going to matter at Maryland. Like there aren't so many big time boosters beyond that like they can really make up for it. Because the question would be, is there an in-between here? That if rev share is what it is for basketball and that number doesn't go up to placate Kevin Willard, can you find enough boosters that then you push everything towards basketball from the boosters? And you just say, you're about to give out a whole lot of $600 NIL deals. Or you're about to give out, or again, legitimate NIL deals for more than $600, but that requires you making it, like this could end up becoming comical. Like, yes, we're going to spend $2 million in NIL on a basketball player to do one commercial. Something like that. Something that it's almost comical NIL money. I don't know. They still need the boosters to fund the rev share money. Like, this is... I'm glad I'm not working in... Well, I do work in college athletics, but I'm glad I'm not working somewhere where I have to answer these questions. That's the problem. I'm trying to have this conversation, and the truth is, it's so big picture. Like, we're so far removed from, is Kevin Willard going to be the basketball coach? I'm talking about, how are you funding rev share? That's what they're dealing with. Like, Kevin Willard says, I want the power. Okay, great. We'll give you the power. Now what?
So they can make it like the, like what we see at these D3 schools. He's the head basketball coach and the athletic director.
Yeah, sure, right? Like, sure, they'll go about doing that. And I'm so sure we'll ever see the day where that happens. I just don't ultimately know. It feels like there's no choice. There's no world where you can fully fund both football and basketball. It can't happen. It requires there to be a pendulum. You're going to have to push back on football in order to become that powerful of a basketball school. And I just cannot see them doing that. We had to do this a little bit earlier because of their busy schedule, getting ready for their own round of 64 game tonight. But an opportunity to catch up with a Baltimore native, Kwame Evans Jr., KJ Evans from Oregon, right here on GCR. Well, coming up tonight, Oregon taking on Liberty in the NCAA Tournament, and that gives us an opportunity to catch up again with our next guest, a Baltimore native, once at Poly, now with the Ducks. He is KJ Evans, and he's back with us now here on GCR. KJ, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Hey, man, a great season, obviously, for you guys. Can you kind of walk me through, right, like the craziness of joining a new league, everything that comes with it, how you all were able to handle that? It seems like everybody made a big deal out about all the travel that was going to be involved, but clearly you guys handled all that pretty well this year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really no problem. I mean, if you want to get to the next level, you got to do the same things that teams are doing on a nightly basis. So you kind of got to get adapt, to it, going cross country and stuff. So I don't think it really did anything to our team. I think we just embraced it. No doubt, that's what came with it.
Did you guys talk about that at all going into the year? Like, hey, this is what it's like in the NBA. Like, this is what we need to be. We need to be ready for this.
We didn't talk about it too much, but when we did, I mean, we kind of just knew that like this is what we wanted to be. This is how like things are going. So we kind of just had to adjust.
I appreciate that, man. What about when teams go out there? It's something we talked about here all the time, right? Like when Maryland went out, you guys took care of it. Do you guys feel like you have a huge advantage when teams from the East are coming out to play you guys in Eugene?
Yeah, I think it's an advantage. It's also like a disadvantage when we go out there too. I mean, the long flights, you got just the time change, get used to like things out there. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely an advantage for us when teams come to us and then when we go to them, it's an advantage for them.
I get that. It's a different world, man, but it led for some exciting basketball this year, no doubt.
Yeah, it did.
KJ, at one point this year, you guys looked like you might not lose a game. Like you were just rolling through everybody on a really difficult non-conference schedule. How difficult was like the Big Ten? I feel like what we learned this year was truly how good of a league it was, because we know these are all really good teams, but it was tough for anybody to get really like any separation within the league because of how difficult things were night in, night out.
Yeah, the Big Ten. Yeah, because the beginning of the year we were just kind of going through. We went to Vegas, started beating them teams over there, won the championship obviously, and then coming in the Big Ten, like it wasn't like so sweet. You know what I mean? Like it just was like it was a hard team every night. Like you had to go out there. Like any team can beat you at any given night, and that's what's kind of what was happening. And we can beat any team. So, it was just a hard league to really win and, stay afloat,
Do you feel at all like the entire league maybe didn't get the credit it deserves seeding-wise? Like we watched teams in the SEC beat each other up all year, and they still all got like 1-2 seeds. Do you feel like maybe people are missing it a little bit with the Big Ten? Like, hey, yeah, nobody had a runaway record, but that's because, my God, look at what you were up against every game.
Yeah, I feel like, we're definitely underrated. I mean, definitely the Big Ten was underrated in the SEC, but the SEC was definitely the best league, I think. But they definitely, like, undervalued us for sure in the Big Ten and how difficult it was to really get, like, these seedings.
I appreciate that, man. KJ Evans, Baltimore Zone from Oregon with us here on GCR. KJ, this year, sort of changing the role a little bit, right? Like, coming off the bench. How difficult was that for you? Was it something that you had to have a conversation with somebody about? And, like, was there a point at which you said, hey, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be providing some offense. Can you kind of walk me through that?
and how that role kind of unfolded for you this year.
So I kind of just talked over with Coach, just to like see if I how to help the team really, because I was starting in the beginning of the year and it was good, it was going well and stuff, but I feel like I had a couple bad games, and then I just thought maybe I should provide the team come off the bench because it'd be better for me in general and for the team, because it wouldn't be like so many like players out there all at once, and then come off the bench would probably help a lot with like the offense needed and defense and just bringing energy. I think that's what I kind of embraced from coming off the bench.
How comfortable or did it take a little while for you to get you? It's funny. I talked to Nenda Tark, who plays for Towson, went through something like this, right? And he said, man, it was weird for me just like going through introductions. What do I do, right? Like, learning how to, did you have like a strange adjustment period to it?
A little bit. It wasn't too long, but it definitely was a little adjustment period to like just know like how everything is working and just come off the bench. So, but I got really better at it, and it really helped the team.
Does it give you an advantage that first stretch, into that first media timeout, to be watching the game and picking things up, or maybe noticing who looks like they might have a little tired legs or something like that you can take advantage of?
Yeah, that first go stretch, just watching everything and knowing like once you come in, like what you need to do and like what can you prevent, that's a lot better.
Do you feel like it's something where, again, we talk about that next level, like we all look at you, like we see your size, your skill set, we know the next levels in play. Do you feel like going through something like this now could maybe give you an advantage, knowing that might be something that you have to do in your future?
Yeah, for sure, because I'm just learning right now, learning to, perfect it in a way. So just in case of another opportunity like this happens at next level, then I can know what to do and know how to adjust to it.
I understand that entirely. KJ Evans with us here on GCR. KJ, the experience a year ago, right? Like you get into the tournament, you win a game, and then you lose like a heartbreaker, right? Like an absolute thriller in the second round. How much has that stayed with you guys this season? And how much does it drive you going into this tournament to not have that same feeling coming out of the first weekend?
For me personally, it's definitely been lingering in my mind, like that game last year. So it's definitely given like fuel to the team and fuel to me to know like we could have really made it last year further. A couple of things was out the way, but this year I really think we like really can get there. Get past like that second game and get to the second weekend and really just give teams fits, to be honest.
Do you have a sense as to like what is the difference? Like the NCAA tournament is such a different animal, right? Like it's such a different beast because you don't get a game where it's like, this is just an easy one. Like even Liberty is obviously a huge challenge. Do you have a sense for like what it takes, what you've learned, how to make a deeper run in the tournament?
Yeah, just knowing, doing all the little things, to get to this point, and you just got to keep going with it. One game at a time, you can't really think too far ahead because anything can happen in the tournament. But, you want the best outcome, really. And we just try to really look at it like one game at a time and really be focused on the little things and make sure that we do what we do. And as a team, then we know what the outcome can really be.
I appreciate that, man. I love that. KJ, has like the Pacific Northwest become home to you? Like, do you still go through like feelings of homesickness a little bit, or is like how's that been now 2 years in?
I definitely feel homesickness. I can't lie about that. I definitely feel homesickness, but I definitely got used to being out here. The time change, just the difference. I'm definitely gotten used to it, but the homesickness I've definitely felt it.
Yeah, I guess, is it a bummer that it didn't work out, that you guys got a trip to Maryland this year? Like, man, you get in the Big Ten and you can't get a trip home.
Yeah, I was definitely looking forward to doing that, but they came out here obviously, so
right.
Hopefully I get to go back home, and play them.
Hopefully that's the case, no doubt about it. Tell me, superstitions, right? Are you a superstitious guy? Like, this is obviously it's the time of year you can't afford to lose a game. Is there anything that we don't know about you that you take before a game that you have to do in preparing, anything like that?
Nah, I don't believe in superstitious stuff. I kind of just go with the flow. Now, wait a second. Like, I know you had like your first career double-double a couple weeks ago. There was no like part of you that was like, I need to do things. You didn't have any feeling like, how do I replicate this next time out? No, not really. I think I just thought of just going out there and trying to do the same thing. I did for that game and just help win. To be honest, the first and foremost is to win.
I get that, man. I completely understand it. KJ Evans, Oregon, Liberty tonight, 10 o'clock late night game for the Ducks in round 1 of the NCAA tournament. KJ, can you remind me social media-wise where you guys are or where you are, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that?
Instagram, Kwame Evans Jr., all one name. And then Twitter is the same thing, Kwame Evans Jr., same way. And then, yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, dude. KJ, congratulations. Again, it's great to catch up with you, dude. Good luck. Hopefully we'll be talking again as you guys make a deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Yes, sir.
That's KJ Evans from Oregon as they get ready for Liberty in round 1 of the tournament. All right, when we come back in, Tai Felton's going to join us, Maryland wide receiver. We're going to chat with him about his prep for the NFL draft. We got a tidbit, tubular, and then wind down for what has been a long, long week. Still one more segment to go here on GCR.
March is a slam dunk at Live Casino. Catch all the basketball action and more at Sports and Social. Enter our $80,000 Dolce & Gabbana giveaway on March 28th. And catch the Baltimore baseball jersey giveaway March 31st. Take your shot at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in Maryland. But don't worry, protection is within arm's reach. Protect your health with this year's COVID-19 and flu shots. It's safe and convenient to get them both at the same time. Flex your protection. For more information, visit health.maryland.gov/vaccines.
This message paid for by the Maryland Department of Health.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimore-golfacademy.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Friday edition of the program. Don't forget the Bat Around this Sunday, 5 o'clock with Pohl and Zach. Same locations. They'll be talking baseball with you. And somebody asked me if Maryland makes a run, maybe we'll do a post-game. I can't commit, unfortunately. That's the problem with not knowing when the games are going to be. I got a lot of stuff going on, so I can't commit to that. But maybe if they make a run, we'll consider doing some sort of post-game, something or other. We'll think about that. No Rita and Glenn this Sunday as the NCAA Tournament will be on 105.7 The Fan. We continue on a Friday edition of the program and start winding things down for what has been a very busy week. We will still get a tidbit, and we will get tubular before we get out of here today. And I want to watch some hoops, so we're trying to do that quickly today. But before we do any of that,
really looking forward to catching up with our next guest. It's been a little while since we've talked with him. He had an awesome performance out in Indianapolis at the Combine, including an amazing flip. I have no idea why he's not being talked about like one of the top wide receivers in this draft, because he is, and he should be discussed that way. I would be very happy if it worked out that he was a Baltimore Raven. He is former Terp and our buddy Tai Felton, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Tai, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Anytime. I appreciate you guys for having me back on.
Dude, it's so good to hear your voice, man. What was that like being out there? Like, I know, like, the flip itself was cool, but was any part of that just like a celebration of I'm doing the thing? Like, I'm living the life that I dreamed. This is happening in this moment.
Yeah, man, 100%. It's like I was telling some other guys. I grew up watching the Combine and stuff with my dad since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So kind of being in the moment and living in there, talking to the college coaches, running the 40 and doing everything at the Combine, man, it was very surreal and honestly just a blessing. So I'm just soaking it all in, enjoying the process before we get going later on in April.
That's awesome, man. All right, so tell me about the flip, right? Like, is that something that you pull out in very special occasions, or is it like something that's so easy for you that like you might just do it like 4 times today when nobody's even watching?
Yeah, man, it's definitely easy. I give a shout out to one of my childhood friends, Bryce Bull. When we were younger, we used to do like parkour and stuff on the playground. He used to teach me like backflips and side flips and stuff like that. So I've been doing that stuff for a long time, man. So it's pretty easy.
Wait,
for me.
did you guys make videos? Like, if we scoured YouTube, could we find like Tai Felton parkour videos?
Yeah, 100%. You can definitely find some YouTube videos.
I gotta track that down somehow, man. Is there anyone in your life that's like, hey, Tai, it's cool that you can do that, but like, maybe don't. Like, we don't want you doing any. Like, imagine if something went wrong and that was how. Like, do you have anybody that's like tried to encourage you to not pull out the cool stuff that you're capable of doing?
Right, and not really, man, because I already got all the head bumps and nicks and bruises out of me when I was younger, busting my butt doing it. So now that I'm older, I'm way more comfortable. I got it pretty much down packed, so I'm all good.
What
When
was
somebody tells me to stop, I'll calm down.
What was the worst one? Like when you were legitimately doing parkour. Like, what was the worst bruise or break or anything like that you dealt with when you were a younger man?
Yeah, I was scared to do backflip for a long time, man, jumping backwards and stuff. So there was a couple times where I landed on my head or landed on my neck or something like that when I was younger. But I made it out with nothing too serious, man. So that's all God right there.
Yeah, right? You ever have a moment now when you're, like, getting ready to, like, make a lot of money and do this? You're like, oh, thank God. None of those things ever went wrong.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Oh, man. Tai, it blows my mind because we know how good you are. Everybody has seen the film. You go out and test. Is it frustrating for you that you're not getting like talked about and everybody's got you in the first? Does that piss you off, or do you block all of that out and say, I can't control it, there's no use in me discussing any of that?
Yeah, 100%, man. I try to block it all out. Because at the end of the day, man, I just want an opportunity. Coming out of college, I mean, coming out of high school, I tore my ACL, didn't really have too many opportunities. Maryland still took me on and still was very loyal to me, man. So it's all about the opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's the first round or seventh round. All that matters is me getting the opportunity, putting in the work to show the team that I can contribute to the team and win.
Tai, it's really fascinating hearing you say that because I do think that people don't know your story the same way. Is it blessing, like that you're in this position? Are you able to have a different perspective about it than a lot of guys would, where none of this was ever promised to me? I genuinely don't care what anybody thinks. I get to live the dream, and I didn't know I was going to be able to do that because, as you pointed out, it wasn't looking great late in high school for you.
Yeah, I honestly appreciate it. I appreciate the adversity and challenges I went through as a younger child, as a kid in high school, kind of losing offers and tearing the ACL and going through that stuff, because it makes you appreciate the game more, and that it can be taken from you in a moment. So I really appreciate the game, and it makes me grind harder, because when I was down at my lowest, nobody wanted me. So it's kind of, my dad always told me growing up, if you live by the cheers, you'll die by the boos. So I kind of go about my career like that, stay level-headed no matter what's going on, something good or something very bad. So I'm just thankful for the adversity I went through, and I made it out on the right side.
Tai, how much of that played a role in why you stayed at Maryland, right? Because I think a lot of people would look at someone with your talent and say, dude, get somewhere else. Go get somewhere where you're gonna, be playing on Saturday night on ABC every week. What was it about you, about the situation that made you say, no, I want to stay at Maryland the entire time?
Yeah, 100%. And that just goes back to high school. When I was down at my lowest, Coach Locke and that staff, they were still very loyal to me when a lot of other colleges and programs had backed off. I actually tried to commit to another school, and they straight up told me that they wouldn't take me even though they were my first offer. So that kind of definitely put that chip on my shoulder. So just that loyalty and that love to Maryland coming out of high school. And then when I started getting those other offers and stuff like that while I was in college around my junior year, I just thought back to when I was hitting adversity and those challenges and how Coach Locke and those guys, they still stayed with me. So I said, there's no reason for me to leave. I'll be wrong to leave. So that's just the loyalty between me and Maryland, 100%.
Wow, it's really powerful to hear you talk about that, man. And we certainly appreciate it because it meant we got to watch Tai Felton for 4 years, and that was really cool.
Yes, sir.
Ty, the comparison that everybody's made between you and Stephon Diggs. Do I remember reading? Have you gotten to know Steph at any point?
Yeah, 100%. I actually got to work out with him 2 or 3 times this past off season. So we definitely were in contact a little bit. He definitely gave me some tips and some cues and stuff like that going into my senior season.
I was going to say, what did you take from that? And do you feel like a kinship now? Like Steph, who we all know, it's a very similar story, right? Like we all knew how unbelievable that dude was, and yet somehow he sat on the draft board and it slipped all the way to the fifth, which is nuts. I'll never understand that. But How much have you felt like a kinship? Like, hey, the path that he took to becoming one of the best receivers in the NFL, I can absolutely take a similar path.
Yeah, 100%, man. It just shows that it doesn't matter what rounds you get drafted in. All it is opportunity and that work ethic you put in whenever you get to that team. So he was just always telling me, man, the work you put in is always going to show no matter what. Whatever you do in the dark is going to show in the light. So that's something I definitely took into my own after he was telling me that. And then even talking to some other Terp greats such as Torrey Smith and Jermaine Lewis and guys of that nature, they've all kind of said the same thing about the work ethic and the mindset you should have going into this process and going into the league. So I definitely have been tuning into that and taking it into my own 100%. And I'm so appreciative of those guys for reaching out.
Obviously, wide receiver, you, of course, the University of Maryland, like you're talking about. Ty, where does your joy come from? Like, you're such watching you play, talking to you, you have such a positivity, a genuine, there are so many guys that are annoyed by things. Like, I don't want to have to do this stuff. Where does it come from for you that you're such a joyful football player and person and you have such a positive life?
Yeah, 100%, man. I would just say the adversity and challenges I went through as a younger kid, man, made me appreciate everything more and just appreciate the love for the game and the practices and the Zooms and the radio interviews, because I wasn't getting this when I was a younger kid and stuff like that. And I always wonder why I want to do it and stuff like that. So now that I'm in it, I really appreciate it and I have a joy for it, because I've been watching this stuff since I was a little kid. This is all a dream for me, being on the radio with you, talking about the NFL draft and going to the Senior Bowl and stuff of that nature. So this is just all just a blessing to me, and I'm just trying to soak it all in as much as possible.
It's really infectious, dude. And it translates.
I appreciate that.
How important is it? Do you feel like that disposition translates to what you do on a football field?
Yeah, 100%. However you act and whatever you do off the field is what you do on the field. So respecting people, being positive, lifting others up and stuff of that nature, that's something Coach Locke and the whole Maryland staff definitely preached my 4 years being at Maryland. That's something my parents always preached to me growing up as a child. So just respecting people off the field and making sure you're doing the right things and doing the right things by people.
Do you at all have a different persona on the field? Like if we hear you and we get to know you, is there any switch that flips when you're on the field where yeah, but I don't mind talking trash with the guy that's lined up against me? Do you have a different persona when you're on the field?
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. Okay. When I get in between them lines, I'm like a gladiator in a war, man. And trash talking is going on, man, and everything. So when I put that helmet on and pads on, it's time to go. So I would say 100%.
So how does someone that's such a good dude the way that you are, do you have to practice trash talking in practice? Do you have to do that with your own guys during the course of the week to get you fired up for the game?
Yeah, a little bit. In practice, we're so competitive in practice, man. The trash talking, it's only right that it comes out. When you're constantly banging heads with somebody and running to somebody full speed like that, it's only right that you talk a little bit of trash and stuff of that nature, man. So definitely in practice, the competitiveness and stuff like that. We can nick and bite each other a little bit.
Is it more okay? So there are some guys that trash talk is so they will study they'll learn things about the guy that's defending them that week to pull it out as they're trash talking them. Is it that, or is it more just about how good you are? Like, is it more like a, dude, you can't guard me. Like, you got nothing on me.
Yeah, I think it's more so that. And
Okay.
my whole thing is, I'm a quiet guy, but once you say something to me, I'm gonna talk to you for the rest of the game. So once somebody starts the fire, man, the fire's gonna keep going, man, with me. So that's how I kind of go about it.
I love that, man. I love everything about that. Ty, what is it that you're bringing, right? Like, we know because we watched you. Like, we know the talent, but when you have these meetings with teams that don't know you personally, what is it that you're hoping they're saying about you after they leave that meeting?
Yeah, 100%. Well, one is just my love for the game. My IQ is definitely elevated a lot, being at Maryland in the complex offense we ran. And then another thing, just my ability to be an all-around football player, whether that's running down on gunner, running down on kickoff, making tackles, catching punt returns, kick returns, and obviously being a dominant receiver, I believe I am. So just being an all-around football player and then my joy for the game, 100%.
What's it been like going through this with Caden? Like having, the guy that you've known and you've been alongside to go through this experience. What has that done for both of you guys? Yeah,
honestly, it's great, and it's honestly a blessing because when KP, when he first got here, we started that grind immediately. I knew KP before college had got going. I actually tried to get him to come to Maryland, but he ended up coming a little bit later on.
It still counts. It's still,
honestly,
right. It took a detour.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a blessing to have somebody like that I've known for this long time going through this process with me and us grind to it together, man, and just trying to live out our dreams. So I'm very grateful for him and everything we've been able to do together at Maryland.
We would selfishly, I know there's probably a lot of people in your life that are like rooting for it to be the Commanders. I understand that. Like, I have no doubt. Or actually, from that type of the world, for some reason, it feels like there's also a boatload of Cowboys fans. Is your family like all Commanders fans, or is there like the weird half of your like cousins and uncles are Cowboys fans, the way it seems to exist for everybody in that part of the world?
Right. Yeah. Some of my family is definitely Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
But just my family I'm with. My high school and where I grew up at is 5 minutes away from the Commanders practice facility.
That makes sense.
So my parents are like,
right?
Stay home. We want you to stay home. They're all Commanders right now. But
So
at the end of the day, man, it's a blessing to go anywhere.
I know.
So
I know
I'll take
that's
the
true. I
opportunity.
know that's true. We selfishly are trying to figure out a way to get you up here with Bo Braid in Baltimore. Like, that's what we're trying to pull off, is how we can have the both of you together here. And make that work, because it was so cool having him here last year. If I just put those words to your mind, that like there could be some world where next year you're catching passes in the NFL from Lamar Jackson, what would that feel like? What would that mean to you if it were to play out that way?
Yeah, 100%, man. It would honestly be a dream. I remember watching Lamar at Louisville, almost winning 2 Heisman trophies, almost beating Clemson in the ACC championship and stuff like that. So I kind of look up to him growing up because I watched how explosive he was in college and stuff like that in his journey. So, man, it would be awesome, man. And I know for a fact it would be a very explosive offense with all the other pieces they have around them.
Holy
so
crap.
It would be great.
It would be dizzying. Like, what the hell would opposing defenses do with all of you guys on one offense together? We need to figure out a way to make that happen badly. We've got to do that. Ty, what have the priorities been for you as you've gone through this? What's still like? Is there any area where like I still feel like I could be better at this particular thing?
Yeah, 100%. Always sharpening my tools, no matter what it is. I feel like watching this past season, my senior season, I've been watching a lot of film on that and stuff of that nature. I feel like there were a lot of like contested catch opportunities I should have came down with that I didn't. So just making sure that my forearms are getting stronger and my focus on the ball is getting stronger, no matter if somebody's draped all over me or not. And just improve my IQ, steady watching film on others receivers, because I'm going to a higher level now. And they said the biggest thing is your mindset and your IQ about the game. So I'm making sure that's intact before I get to a team and stuff of that nature. So just trying to get 1% better every day. That's all it is.
And then the fact we know that last year didn't go the way that you guys wanted it to go. We're all aware of that. And you know, you've dealt with enough people in your life that are fans that like they become cynical. They're like, this is it's same old Maryland, something like that. What is the message to people? And I don't know, do you know Malik, who obviously is a local guy, and I don't know if you ever got to connect with him at any point, but what would be your message to people that are down about why you shouldn't be down? Hey, sometimes there are tough years. That's not the story of Maryland football.
Yeah, 100%, man. I would just say just look at who Coach Locke is and what he's done for the program already. He's all about elevating the program and trying to put the program in the right place. And I know he's going to do that. I feel like they're more onto the NIL situation too as well. I feel like we caught on a little bit late, so that's why we had some younger guys that got thrown into that fire. We lost some guys as well. So I feel like just knowing that Coach Locke and those guys, he's going to elevate the program any way possible. He knows that we can do it, and if you go back to last season, we're just a couple plays off from winning, from being 9-3 to 4-8 to whatever we were and stuff of that nature. So just us realizing the fundamentals and techniques that we didn't work on. But I would just say just continue to believe. If everybody believes, it can be something special, but just continue to believe and stuff of that nature.
I mean, they literally have the number 3 prospect in the entire country signed to join them the following year, which is crazy. Zion Ely out of St. Francis. That's not a bad statement. All right, so the real question, Ty, like, are you at the place where, like, you have to eat, like, nothing but kale and all that going through, like, the draft process and all the training? Are you at a place where you can't even have, like, a slice of pizza right now?
Oh, no, I've been eating pizza, kava, Chipotle. I've been eating pretty good. I'm a skill guy, so
yeah, you're working. That's a good point.
So I'm making sure I'm in shape.
You're burning a lot of calories. I guess that's true, right? Like, you're burning a lot of calories every day. Tai Felton, we're so happy for you, man. Can you remind everybody how they can give you a follow as you're going through everything?
Yeah, man. On Twitter and Instagram, it's just Tai Felton, TAIFELTON, on all socials and stuff of that nature. So I appreciate you guys. Yes, sir.
Dude, so I've always enjoyed, as much as we've enjoyed watching you play, and you know how much, you've always been happy to come on and talk with us over the years. And we've enjoyed every single conversation we've had. If it's Baltimore, dude, my God, we're gonna be in business together. That's the way that it's gonna work. If it's if it's Pittsburgh, just please don't be offended by anything we say about you. We don't mean it. All right, like, just please understand that.
I hear you.
Congratulations on everything, man. Can't wait to see what's next for you, Ty. Thank you so much for taking the time for us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Appreciate you. Tai Felton, University of Maryland wide receiver. And just genuinely pleasant dude, man. Like, it's really, really, I think every time he's come on with us over the years, you've gotten exactly that. Like, just there's so many people for who's doing something like that. They roll their eyes. Really? I got to do one of these? And he's like, yo, I'm excited. I get to do interviews. I cannot for the life of me figure out why he is not graded more highly. I cannot. What box does he not check?
He wasn't injured at Maryland at all, was he?
No, the injury dated back to when he was in high school.
Like,
I think. He dealt with some little things.
I can't think of the.
Like, you want to say he's not a prototype? Like, this is really
just because the numbers didn't follow?
And that's what I wonder. I wonder about that. But by the way, he also still
he still
like, let's not pretend
numbers.
like he wasn't really productive. He was incredibly productive. Oh yeah, it's that time. We need to get that basketball game on. Yeah, he had 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns last year. He was plenty productive. And if you want to say, like, he didn't have 4 years of production, like, okay, but that's because they had Dante Demas and Rakim Jarrett, and, like, I don't get it. I don't understand what I'm missing here. And I think that it's that there's not one thing. Like, he's not prototype size, and he's not, X receiver. Like, he's not 4.2 fast. And so that's my gut. My gut is because he's not one or the other, he sort of falls in. But, like, there's nothing about – watch his game speed. He doesn't have a speed problem. He's going to burn you. He plays bigger than he is. And, like, he comes off like he's 6'2". It's not even like he's 6 foot. I have no idea. And we get it, like, wide receiver is not the top priority for the Ravens, which is very weird because, we're still not at a place where we're used to saying anything other than wide receiver is a top priority for the Ravens. But, like, if he really isn't off the board in the first couple of rounds, my God. Tai Felton's so good, man. He's such a good football player. I am perplexed. I can sign in.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
The first game was on CBS today.
Yes. I guess that's the way it always is.
Why this also is annoying. Like, in the cord cutting era, that I had to do this yesterday and I have to do this again today. And maybe that's because I signed on at home like last night. So
is that what it is? I mean, I guess.
That,
I don't know.
That might be the problem, but it's very annoying. All other annoying things, real quick. Fast break yesterday got off to a rough start. Fast break last year, I remember being the best part of watching the tournament, which is on the app. They have a fast break, which is supposed to be like the basketball red zone channel. Like, we'll get you to, and they were doing way too much like Manning cast. And I know that there are people that like Manning cast, but part of the reason people like Manning cast is because Peyton and Eli have become pop culture personalities. It should be here. Hit a button, and it should be signed in. Okay. Josh Pastner and Randolph Childress and Tony Delk are great, but they're not. No, and if that's what you want, then do both. Have two different, portals on the app. One for second screen watch along with college basketball personalities, and one that's I don't need. I want the games. Get me to the games. Now, I will tell you that I stayed with it, and as the day went on, it got much better.
Yes, I guess
much better.
Maybe they felt like with not 4 games on, that it was more appropriate to
or
talk
because
over,
the 4 games were in the first half, and they weren't really all that important yet. Whatever it was, as the day went on, Fast Break improved dramatically. Also, when Fast Break signs off for the night, they cut back to the one shining moment, and so I ended up like when the games ended last night. I think they were in 1993, and I was like, I could get through 2002. Did a little extra work before I went to bed. Who needs sleep? But Fast Break got better. Apparently, there's 2 different controversies. The controversy that I have is not the controversy that everybody else has.
With Fast Break?
No, with the broadcasts in general.
Oh. The Lady Gaga song?
Big issue I have. Today, it looks good. What do we see up in the corner today?
See our little score bug, showing all the other games coming up.
Now, as day goes on, they should be up in the left-hand corner with the live scores of those games. Yesterday, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it was app only or if it was on TV, it looked different. Yesterday, much of the broadcast day, no score bug in the upper-hand corner. And I'm losing my mind, flipping out. I come to find out there's a very specific subset of people that had all of the games on. Like they did I've got a computer monitor, I got the TV, I got my phone.
And I have YouTube TV.
And so you had the ability to
just go 4. Yeah.
They were complaining that the score bug on one game was ahead of because of latency. What they were watching on another screen. And so they were sort of getting it spoiled in that process. That's a very unique problem that if their answer was take the score bugs off the screen, effing insane. To serve that small group of people instead of the larger majority of people who are watching a screen, nonsense.
A lot of points already.
Baylor, Mississippi State, the first game of the day. You need to have scores on the screen. Got to do it. Must. Absolutely. By the way, this is who Mount St. Mary's would face in the next round.
Okay.
The winner of this game is who would get Mount St. Mary's.
Right. Do some scouting, people.
100%. So I heard the internet, like the argument was just delay the score bug by 30 seconds. Like that's how you want to solve the problem. Keep the score bug up there, but just set it back somehow 30 seconds so that you're not jumping ahead of whatever latency issues people are having on other. Like, my other answer would be, this is such a unique problem. This is such a first world problem that you're gonna have to deal with it. Like, I can't feel sorry for you. Like, oh, look at me. I'm trying to watch on all 4 screens, and one of them is 45 seconds behind. Sorry, dude. Way too specific. Way too specific. Like, I complained all last year because the CBS or the Paramount Plus app stunk. The Paramount Plus app was so far behind live action that legitimately I knew the Ravens failed the 2-point conversion in the AFC champion or in the playoffs before I had seen the touchdown. Twitter had told me that Mark Andrews had dropped the ball before Isaiah Likely had caught a touchdown on what I saw on the Paramount. The Paramount Plus app is dreadful. ESPN app, tremendous. Peacock app, on point. Paramount Plus, awful. The latency was ungodly. And to say, well, maybe that's just you and your internet? No, because I watched on the other apps, and they were great. Paramount Plus stunk. So I don't know if that's part of the problem here, too, is that they just have a bad latency issue with the March Madness thing. Couldn't tell you. There wasn't any particular game that was so dramatic yesterday that I was paying attention to see if Twitter was spoiling a buzzer beater before I saw it, right? Like, I didn't notice any of that yesterday. So they might have a latency problem in general with the app, but can't take the score bugs off the screen. Like, I've got to be able to know as I'm sitting here watching, hey, there's another game that maybe I would rather be watching because the score is particularly close. Keep them up there. You don't have to have all three of them. You don't have to have 3 boxes. You can just rotate the one box. The way that we're watching it rotate up the schedule today in that score bug on this screen. It's such a nerdy. Everything about what I just said is so nerdy.
No, I mean, it makes sense, though.
Imagine
you
being
know,
at the,
you're not
imagine
gonna be
being at the
alone.
bar and talking to a lady. Like, let me tell you
God.
what I was dealing with yesterday.
She's like, hey,
VCU
went up 19 to 17, but it said 17-17
right.
on the other screen where I was watching
She's like, how was your day today? And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you asked. I swear to this is apparently one night I was out drinking. There was a Maryland-Virginia football game in Charlottesville the next day that I was going to. But I stopped over the night before to visit friends that lived in Northern Virginia, and we went out.
Okay.
And
Nice.
apparently,
everybody loves going out Nova.
We went out to I had a buddy that worked for the Capitals, and there was a bar that a lot of the players like going to, and he was like, we'll go out, we'll put on nice puffy shirts, and we'll very unlike anything that you would know about me. Like, it was a very different experience. So Maryland was playing Virginia in football, Scott Stadium at like 6 p.m. on Saturday night. The game was on ESPNU. I apparently met a young lady at this bar that we went to, and I was drunk. And apparently I spent 30 minutes talking to her about what a problem it is that the football game that I was going to was going to be on ESPNU. That, like, ESPNU.
This is Maryland, Virginia.
ESPNU is not available. They'd be better off putting it on Raycom because then you can watch it. Like, I swear to God, as I am to understand from my buddies that were out with me, I spent 30 minutes talking to an attractive young lady at a bar about this topic. Now, apparently, it did not dissuade her. Somehow, this young lady put up with all of this nonsense and continued, and everything was like, the night continued. But I cannot believe
That's just the Glenn Clark charm.
the charm.
Right?
Yeah. The next day, they're all like, but I know the story because the next day I wake up, come upstairs, and they're like, hey man, have you solved the world's problems yet? And I'm like, huh? Like, the problem of Maryland, Virginia football being on ESPNU. I'm like, well, it is a problem. And I start,
Well, I'm glad. Actually, now you bring that up.
that's exactly what, that last 5 minutes, that soliloquy right there is me. I'm talking for, what was that? Why did I bring that up? Like it was a hot button issue that would touch on the, everybody's going to understand this. I'm speaking for the people here. Glenn Clark, man of the people in this moment. God, what a nerd. Can we do tidbit?
Yeah,
do we have to do tidbit? Can we
no, we don't necessarily have to. I can read
It's
off
late.
some quick ones.
I don't wanna watch
Kansas
hoops.
lost yesterday their first round loss, or I should say Bill Self's first round loss since 2006. They lost to Bradley in the first round. So a streak of 17 straight first round wins comes to a
I also
close.
saw that they were the first preseason number 1 to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament since
UVA. No. Yeah, UVA against UMBC.
they were not
They were not the
preseason
preseason
number 1.
See, I mean, yeah, preseason number 1s. That's tough. Let's see. Duke probably lost at some point as a preseason number 1. Duke.
Not Duke.
How do I get a year, or we'll throw out
hang on.
Houston?
Hang-
No, Houston's never been a preseason one.
Since 2006.
That was the last time?
Mm-hmm.
The 2006 pre-1. The way you said it kind of cheeky like that makes me think, was Maryland a preseason number one ever? No, okay. All right.
Since Kansas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 2006.
Oh, was this that exact year?
I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it was 2006. Yeah. Wow.
To,
okay.
Yep.
So they fell to a 4 seed and lost in the first round.
Well, I mean, last night they were what, 7 seed?
Yeah. Jeez.
Preseason number 1 to a 7 seed.
That's I guess that's really the big one from last night. Jemiah Neal.
Oh, you know what? No, that wasn't the year. It was 2005. Sorry.
So they were the 04
well, hang on.
preseason fit.
Now I got to figure that out. If they're referring to the 2005 poll and losing, did they lose in the first round? Hang on a second. Carry on with whatever you're doing.
Jemiah Neal of Creighton.
Because I thought they said that they lost to Bucknell the year that this happened, not Bradley. So I'm now wondering if they lost in the first round in back-to-back years.
Jemiah Neal of Creighton. Yes, of Creighton. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I had that right.
Creighton.
Yes, of Cretan. Somebody I think called him Cretan. He had a nice game, 29-12.
It was the previous year. They lost to Bucknell in the first round the previous year, the 2005 NCAA tournament.
Okay. All right, got it.
That was
so bad stretch there for the Kansas. How about they stick with that guy?
Back-to-back, right?
A pretty good game for Jemiah Neal. 29 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, nearly 78% or nearly 70% shooting, 68% from the field. 2 made threes. He is only the third player this century, this millennium, to have those numbers, and the last to do it was 2003. This player had 29 as well, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 68% from the field, made 2 threes.
Do you really think I'm going to know this?
For Marquette in 2003.
Oh, Dwayne Wade.
Wade, yes. And then the year prior with Alabama.
The year prior with Alabama. 2002 Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
That's not Gerald Wallace.
No, it wasn't Gerald Wallace.
2002 Alabama.
33 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 69% from the field. 2002. He made 3 threes, and Alabama as a 2 seed. They beat North Florida.
I don't remember.
That was Mo Williams.
Mo
Williams and Dwayne Wade, the last two. And then here's the is it
Mo Williams played in the NBA, but Mo Williams not really a thing. That's not. I don't feel bad about not
play with LeBron.
I don't feel silly about the fact that I didn't get that.
He's gonna always have lore because he played with LeBron. So.
Sure.
And then Hersey Hawkins was the first to do this.
Hersey Hawkins.
That's what I said. Hersey Hawkins.
Sure. That's exactly what you said. All right. Very good. Let's get Tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up. As we mentioned, Baylor, Mississippi State underway on CBS. Then Mount St. Mary's, Duke after that. Tonight, Troy, Kentucky, Xavier, Illinois. TBS will have Colorado State, Michigan at 2, followed by Grand Canyon, Maryland at 4:35 or so from out in Seattle. Then New Mexico, Marquette, and Bryant, Michigan State tonight starting at 7:25. True TV, Robert Morris, Alabama at 12:40, then Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. Tonight, Akron, Arizona at 7:35, Liberty, Oregon at 10:10, and TNT, Lipscomb, Iowa State at 1:30, North Carolina, Ole Miss after that. Tonight, Norfolk State, Florida at 6:50, Oklahoma, UConn at 9:25. Who is the only player in the entire NCAA tournament whose name
Derik Queen
is 2 different schools that are playing in the NCAA tournament?
Robert Morris. No, 2 different schools.
Mm-hmm. This is so random.
There's a player.
There's a player
Drake,
whose name.
Drake, could it be Duke? Dookie. Northwest. North.
You're gonna feel a little silly.
Probably.
You're gonna feel a little silly.
I mean, I just got to run through every roster real quick. Was his team eliminated yet? Or
Nope, not been eliminated.
They played today. Or they won yesterday.
And what if I told you he's been a guest on this program?
Kwame Evans, no.
What if I told you he was a guest on this program this week?
Because that means, gosh, now I got to remember who was on the show this week.
Oh, Griffin. Oh, Griffin.
And we had Xavier Lipscomb.
Xavier Lipscomb, of course. One name, two schools. How about that? That was just people were just throwing around random tweets yesterday. That was one of the random tweets that I came across.
Okay. What if it wasn't true and it's like there's another player that was also named Lipscomb Xavier? And
yeah, I mean that's Lipscomb Xavier. Yeah, I don't think so. Orioles are on the radio tonight. Tariq Skubal and Albert Suarez as they take on the Tigers at 6:05 tomorrow. Women's tournament, Norfolk State and Maryland, 4 o'clock on ESPN. Lots of lacrosse tomorrow. Monumental for Stony Brook and Towson at noon. Big Ten Network, Maryland Northwestern women at 2. ESPNU, Rutgers, Johns Hopkins women at 11 a.m. Everything all right out there? Everything all right?
What did I miss?
John Colson stopped in his tracks. Something. Like he was worried the tree was going to fall down or something. I'm not sure. That's why I needed to know. ESPN Plus tomorrow, Navy Holy Cross lacrosse at noon. Marist Mount St. Mary's at noon. Loyola Colgate women at noon. Rutgers Hopkins at 1. UMBC Albany at 1. Lafayette Loyola at 1. Navy Bucknell women at 3. Big Ten Network Plus tomorrow for Michigan Maryland lacrosse at noon. Stevenson Salisbury tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on
CNU
TV.
Tufts ended yesterday.
Yeah, that was a thriller. Masson tomorrow, Orioles Pirates, 1 o'clock for Zach Eflin and Paul Skeens. So
nice opening day matchup.
Just the problem is it's up against the NCAA tournament. So tomorrow, CBS McNeese Purdue at 12:10, Arkansas St. John's. Sorry, John. At 2:40, Michigan Texas A&M 5:15, BYU Wisconsin 7:45. TNT tomorrow night, Drake and Texas Tech 6:10, Gonzaga Houston at 8:40, and TBS and True TV for Creighton Auburn at 7:10, UCLA Tennessee at 9:40. Sunday we will not know until we get through. Tomorrow the Orioles and Braves are on MLB Network on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Non-sports.
I mean, not a whole lot.
Just
though.
forget
Wicked's going to be streaming now. It's including a sing-along version on Peacock.
My
so
older son asked when we were going to watch Wicked. I was like, "Do you want to watch Wicked?"
You guys didn't see it in theaters?
No. He was like,
"It's a good movie."
And then it's clear that he wants to, but then he recognized that he wasn't supposed to want to. Like he's having some of those moments. But based on my response when I was like, "You want to watch Wicked?" He was like, "Well, I mean, if I have to." Like you just asked me when we were watching Wicked, and then you tried to pivot to, "Well, if I have to."
So you're gonna watch Wicked?
It was a wild I guess I haven't watched Wicked.
You're not gonna let him?
I mean, I'm not gonna if he demands it. Yeah, like I get.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Is it a family movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never watched Wicked before.
It's
I know the song.
The Wizard of Oz. And
right, but I don't know anything else about it.
You got Glinda, and you got the Wicked Witch of the West.
But I thought the Wicked Witch was the face in this one. I thought she was the good guy.
Yeah. Cynthia Erivo. Yes. Yeah.
So how does that work?
Well, I mean, because it's her backstory. It's a prequel to The Wizard of Oz.
Right, but I don't want to root for her. She's literally the Wicked Witch.
Well, you just don't jump to any conclusions yet, my friend. You got to watch the movie.
A lot going on here, man. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I heard it's very good on Broadway. I kind of want to see it on Broadway now.
Oh, wow. You're all in on Wicked.
God, Wicked was amazing.
You're a huge Wicked guy.
I mean, it was one of my favorite movies of last year.
Wow.
Which I didn't think was a great year for movies.
It wasn't. Honora was very good.
Yeah, I haven't seen Honora, so maybe I should.
I'll watch Wicked at some point, probably not during the basketball tournament.
Yeah, I know. This is a bad weekend to want to watch Wicked.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. I'll be in agreement.
Also, a bad weekend to have a lot of lacrosse games to be working.
One yesterday that came out yesterday. It's called The Residence on Netflix. Apparently, it's very good. Someone compared it to Knives Out. It's a whodunit in the White House, and apparently Andre Braugher's in it as well.
Oh, I love Andre
that
Braugher.
Must be like one of his. Yeah.
Oh.
Randall Park's in it. There's a whole other cast of characters that you'll recognize, but names that you probably won't know, but it's characters you'll recognize. But that's on Netflix and apparently is pretty good. Severance season 2 finale is today as well. That's the big one.
Okay.
That's the big one. Then of course new episodes of all this stuff.
And
Sunday.
still no SNL.
Next week I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely next week.
And then they're doing like 3 straight weeks though.
And I believe Mikey Madison is hosting next week.
Mikey Madison is hosting next week.
Nora.
I had it.
Morgan Wallen is the musical guest who I don't.
Sweet.
Yeah, good for you. I've never.
I don't hate Morgan Wallen.
I don't hate him, but I have not heard one song. Every time I hear him,
he's
I'm
got
like
that one with what's his face?
Yeah, Post Malone.
Post.
Every time I hear one of his songs, I'm like, so people like him because he's racist? Like, what's the what? Because his music is equally as forgettable as every other country performer. Why has he been elevated? Jack Black is the following week.
Elton John and Brandi Carlile.
Yeah, that's random.
With Jack Black.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be pleasant.
John Hamm and Lizzo over Easter. Is that Easter weekend?
What's John Hamm plugging?
I don't know.
Yeah, I also, like an idiot,
Hamm?
decided it was finally time for me to do a Mad Men rewatch. I watched episode. I'm sorry. I watched episode 1, and then I realized, like, I'm watching basketball. I don't have time to be doing anything else.
I think I want to do the over in the Robert Morris.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah,
Way to
so
go,
let me get
dummy.
that in real quick. Hold
Way to
on.
go.
Yeah.
Thanks today to, well, he had a busy day. This is your fault for booking guests.
I
Well, you
guess
didn't book
so.
all of them, I guess. Thanks to Tai Felton. Thanks to KJ Evans. Thanks to Stan. Thanks to Adam Pohl and to Greivis Vasquez. That's the whole list, right?
I think so. Yeah, Stan. Yeah, you said it all.
We'll get them all up in the greatest hits section of the.
The ball is tipped.
No, Ed DeChellis was on that list
Oh,
too.
Ed
It wasn't the
DeChellis,
whole
yeah.
list.
Thanks, Ed
God.
DeChellis. The Ed DeChellis tab of.
Yeah, thank you. At GlennClarkRadio.com. Which means on Monday.
Actually, yeah, we do have something.
A special guest will be joining us on Monday. That's the plan. We better wrap up. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costa Sin, MSAA, Maryland Sports, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Maryland. Go Maryland women. Go all the lacrosse teams. Go Mount St. Mary's because Duke sucks.